Buddy out. Over in Cincinnati, they're still scoreless. Astros and the Reds, they are in the bottom of the sixth inning with the Reds up, no one on, and nobody out.
It's time.
You know what time it is?
The game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half.
We at Bama, we're trying to be the best.
Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
How are you doing, Tuscaloosa? Hopefully you have an amazing day. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyland Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. If you're looking for a new Tundra, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive options, Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Highlander, when you look at the great dealership right there, and also they want me to remind you about the big third annual LPGA qualifier that's coming to Tuscaloosa at Old Colony Golf Complex. That's going to be September the 9th through the 15th. It is called the Tuscaloosa Toyota Golf Classic. And once again, Tuscaloosa has a chance to showcase to these young ladies what we have to offer. And I'll never forget the first time we did that. We went out and they were highly impressed with our city. And, you know, hey, you never know. Maybe we could have something even bigger than just an LPGA qualifier event. Maybe this becomes maybe a bigger stop, maybe on the LPGA Tour, maybe something else. Who knows? But hey, we've embraced this Tuscaloosa Toyota Golf Classic, September the 9th through the 15th, Old Colony Complex. We'll get you more details as we get a little bit closer. But just think, I mean, we're blinking and we're already 1 week into college football. Alabama going to be taking on South Florida. Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium going to be rededicated. You look back at this, we will take scores, we'll take predictions, but I'd like to kind of go back a couple of different things. And, you know, I don't want to spend this entire season talking about Coach Saban, but this is one of those moments that you do pause and you think about the 17-year run here in Tuscaloosa. We'll talk to Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Bruce Marshall. We'll also talk to Brad Powers at 4 o'clock. So Rodney Orr, 2:15. 3 o'clock, we'll talk to Bruce Marshall, and 4 o'clock, we'll talk to Brad Powers. We will take scores. We'll take predictions. We're doing another big prize package, and because of Labor Day, it's pushed us back just a little bit, right? So we did everything. It was on a Tuesday. We did it on a Wednesday, and a Thursday for our Southern Ale House Score prediction day. So we'll tie this in and we'll take your scores, we'll take your predictions, and we'll also ask you today, when you look back at this 17-year run under Coach Saban, because tomorrow will be SEC Parlay Pick Day, and it's normally, probably one of the fastest paced shows that we do is each and every Friday. I try to squeeze in, because we only do one day of that contest. We'll love to get your thoughts on maybe your favorite memory of this 17-year run under Coach Saban. 17-year run under Coach Saban. Was there a moment that stands out? I mean, I'm sure it's a national championship. For me, it's 2nd and 26. I mean, a 41-yard reception because Georgia had Alabama against the ropes. You back up and you think about that play, that 2nd and 26, and really the tale of two halves, right? The first half, even the second half, at times, Alabama didn't look like they were going to be able to win a championship. I'll never forget that game at halftime. I had rode with somebody over to Atlanta to go to the SEC title game, and if I could have gotten a vehicle or if they'd have had one of those fast trains back to Birmingham, I'd have jumped on at halftime because I thought Alabama was going to get smoked. It just did not look pretty, and Nick Saban made one of the bravest calls out there. And you think about South Florida, if we're ranking mistakes or greatest achievements, probably that South Florida game, I don't know what he was trying to do. I wish sometimes that he would be a little bit more transparent and maybe tell us, because when Jalen got benched, it was a turning point of the season, but really not what you expect. So we'll dive into that. We'll also react to some things that Kayvon DeBoer said last night right here on the flagship station of Alabama Crimson Tide football when he talked about Caden Proctor, more of a day-to-day than a week-to-week, more of a day-to-day than a week-to-week. That's good news. That's good news when you think about Caden Proctor. And I don't think, for me, I don't expect him to be ready to go, but who knows? I mean, when you look at this weekend, that's all speculation when you look at Caden Proctor. But when you think about, the shoulder injury that DeBoer updated us on Monday, it sounds okay. This is probably going to be one of those things that's probably going to miss a little bit of time. And then on Wednesday, had a little bit of a different positive outlook, right? And then even last night, I thought so as the week has progressed, not saying that Caden Proctor, hear me out now, because I know a lot of people, you listen just for a little bit, but as the week has progressed, you almost feel like that it's a little bit more of a positive. Not saying he's ready to go, but maybe that's more of a timetable for next week or even the following, which will be the bye week, and you'll have 2 weeks to get ready for Georgia. So we'll dive into a lot of different things. We're going to talk about it. We're going to take your scores. We're going to take your predictions, your analysis. Had a lot of score predictions yesterday, but we'll get those back involved today. We'll do another big package, including a Southern Ale House gift card. We'll do Pat's Florist Dozen Red Roses. We call that doghouse prevention here. That's what we call it because many of you guys need it because you've watched way too much football. I know you. You've watched football all weekend. We call it doghouse prevention, and you can pick up a dozen red roses, Pat's Florist Gourmet Baskets, 1010 Queen City Avenue in Tuscaloosa. We'll also do a Mark Smart gift package. Thank you, guys. Thank you. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, it's all about our good friends right there, and we'll put a Daniel Moore 2025 calendar in here as well. So we say thank you. We appreciate you for listening to our show. We'll take those phone calls coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll talk to Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, and then we'll go a lot of different ways. Like I said, we're gonna dive back into some audio. We're gonna dive back into this game. We asked yesterday if we thought this game was a revenge game from a fan perspective. Do you look at South Florida and say this is a revenge game? It's one of those that I thought one of the callers said it yesterday. It's more of a prove your point game, right? South Florida, you think you want to poke around with Alabama a little bit? I would look at Alabama and say Alabama's going to cover the spread. I think Alabama's going to come out firing all cylinders because last year the attention that they lacked, I think they're going to have this week. I think they had it when you look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the practice intensity, understanding that you're a big favorite. But, hey, play like you're a favorite. Play like you're the better team. Alabama grabbed a lot of attention. They moved up in the AP. They moved up in the coaches poll from 5 to 4 in both of those polls, but it seems to be a little bit of a recognition. Can they do it? Is it just a week one outlier, or is this what this team is going to be able to make of? You look at the wide receivers, that's going to be a fun rotation. And you think about this football team with Jalen Milroe taking some significant steps in the right direction and that rushing attack, they're able to get that momentum going. It's hard to believe 63. I mean, I've never seen it. I think it was either DeBoer or Sheridan that said it on Monday. 9 passes for 63 points. That has to be some type of collegiate record. I mean, there's how many teams out there that just pound the football? And I think that's one of the things that when you look at DeBoer, we talked about this going back to UW, is he's a guy that doesn't mind, pounding the football. And I think the best 2 backs when you look at 1A and 1B with Justice Haynes and Jam Miller, and it's probably the best combination that he's had to work with. So, we don't know how much he's going to lean on that rushing attack. And, hey, rushing attacks will travel. They will travel. And Alabama getting ready to go to Wisconsin. And that'll be a physical football game. The Big Ten guys always have the trenches, but you got to be pleased with where Alabama is. Yesterday we had a chance to visit with both Coach Cap and Freddie Roach. You know me and my love for offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Love to hear it. Love to hear coaches analyze it and share thoughts. And I asked a very generic question. I think I said yesterday to Freddie Roach, how many guys would you like to have rotate through that defensive line? What's ideal? And he said all of them, which is, the perfect coach answer, right? You want to have all of those guys ready. But that depth, that defensive line seems to be the strength of that team. Now, we're 1 day in. And that'll be one of the things that we'll dive into and coming up here in a couple of minutes. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, TiderInsider.com. And, hey, we're also going to give away, we've got a caller that has also thrown something in the package, and we'll throw that in there as well. Tell you what, let me do that tomorrow. So I was going to do that for the score prediction day, but let me save that to tomorrow for the parlay picks. And we had someone that started a little something, and we'll give that away. It's kind of tying back to someone that participates in the show, and I think it's going to be a nice little value, and he'll ship it directly to you. So anyway, it'll fund something. You'll hear that tomorrow, and it'll all make sense. The last 2 minutes is like, what in the world is he talking about? We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We'll do a Southern Ale House gift card today. Big prize package. We'll take your phone call. TiderInsider.com, the editor, the founder, the TITV WVUA, each Tuesday, 6:30 and 10:30 on the replay. TiderInsider.com, the longest website covering the University of Alabama. Rodney Orr, I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to the game in T-Town.
Hey, Ryan, I am doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Man, it's been a busy day. It seems like Labor Day kind of put us all a day behind. It's kind of like you don't get the day off. You just got to make it up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's kind of where we're at. But I want to go back like we do each and every week. We go back to Alabama taking down Western Kentucky. We sat side by side in the press box. Give me your big takeaways from the game.
Well, I thought it was a great start. I really did. Given that it was the first game for the players and this coaching staff together, I thought it went fairly smooth. Of course, you had some issues, you had some penalties, you had the bad snap. You had a 22 play drive. I think they gave up. Didn't give up any points though. They found a way to stop Western Kentucky on that drive. They had some turnovers. Obviously Keon Sabb had a huge first quarter. If you'd have told me going into the game though, Ryan, that Milroe would throw it 9 times, that the leading rusher would carry it 4 times for over 100 yards, the leading receiver would catch 2 passes for 139 yards. Those statistics are really tough to believe, right? But at the same time, you only had 20 plays in the first half. It was amazing. I mean, but overall, no, I thought it was a great first performance. Thought Burnham was really great, with the punting. So saw some really positive things from both sides of the ball. I think some encouraging things defensively. We've talked about this time and time again throughout the summer, that we were really anxious to see what the defense would look like. And obviously they're going to play against better teams, better offenses, better defenses, so forth. But I thought this defense versus, Western Kentucky showed some really good things in terms of I thought they tackled pretty well for a first game. They did have some misses, but they tackled overall pretty well. Very aggressive. And I really liked the defensive front because I saw guys up front now making plays. And in terms of, this system allows them a little more freedom to create some plays. And I thought that was really good to see. And I thought those young cornerbacks that we've talked about, within the first couple of series, you had 4 or 5 of them already in there. I thought that they seemed to play with a lot of confidence, seemed to know what they were doing. You didn't see any, real bust per se. So I thought overall, Ryan, so good start.
Yeah, go back to the defensive side of the football, because let's go back to the scrimmage we call A-Day here in Tuscaloosa, the 15th and final practice of spring. When you look back at the A-Day game, we thought the defense was not going to be where it needed to be, right? I mean, the defense was not it looked like there was going to be some growing pains. But Kane Womack has been able to develop these guys, and the earlier players are able to get in. That tells me that system that they're teaching, it's not just teaching it, the players are comprehending where they can get on the field.
Yeah, and I think Kane Womack gave a great explanation of that a couple of weeks ago when he said, look, as far as these young secondary players, we've got phases that we can bring them along and still allow them an opportunity to get on the field. Give them things that they can do. They don't have to know everything right away, immediately. Bringing them along in stages. And so I thought that was really a great way of kind of explaining that. And I just really thought that those young players seemed to be confident. I mean, they were communicating out there. It seemed to be, they knew what they were looking at and communicating with each other. I thought that was a real positive sign. And, just the number of players overall. We talked about this last week, probably even the week before, Ryan. That was one of the big questions that we asked was, will we see more players play? That was kind of the sense we were picking up from what the coaching staff was talking about throughout August. And sure enough, in this game anyway, we saw a lot of players get opportunities, played 19 true freshmen.
That's crazy. I mean, there was so many different first times, whether it's the headset trying to get Nick Sheridan down to the sidelines, the headset going out. I mean, I think Caleb Orr opened up his Monday press conference talking about there was a lot of firsts. I even think he even talked about that Saturday after the game. There was some uniqueness about that. But, hey, when you score 63 and the other team scores 0, you're off to a really good start, because the game of college football is a momentum. I want to ask you about some of the guys that really stood out. LT Overton kind of continued what he was able to do in the fall camp. He looks like he's going to be a guy that's going to be a wrecking machine on that front seven.
Yeah. I'm interested because I've heard, by the middle of the year or somewhere in that time frame, they think that he's going to really just kind of burst out and be a real difference maker up front. But LT Overton, I thought, and again, not naming them all, but Jaheim Otis showed a lot of really good things. He batted down a ball or two. I thought that James Smith had some really nice plays. He batted down a ball or two. So I thought those three guys, and there were others, but I thought Quay Russaw, at that outside backer spot, he showed up quite a bit. So I think as a defensive front overall, that it was a really promising performance. Now again, I'm always hesitant, and certainly nothing against Western Kentucky, but the competition's going to get a lot better. It's going to ramp up, and so I like to reserve too many accolades, because I want to see as they move along, just how they kind of continue to improve. And Ryan, I think the schedule sets up for that to me, because you had this game, against Western Kentucky. I think you might see a little better team here in South Florida. I think defensively they're better. So I want to see this one. And then, of course, you go on the road. That's the first road game in a couple of weeks here against Wisconsin. It's a well-coached team, early morning game. It's going to be real interesting to watch to see how Alabama handles that. And then you've got the week off, and then you end the month with Georgia. And we're going to find out a lot. I guarantee you we'll find out a lot on that night.
Let's go to the young wide receivers, because this unit, we talked about, losing the guys that they did from the 2023 team, but also these guys that have really stepped up. You saw, even though it was only 9 passes from Jalen Milroe, you saw the backup Ty Simpson get in and also throw 9 passes. But this wide receiver room is deep. Rodney, they've got a lot of versatility in that wide receiver room. I know it starts with some of the veterans and then Ryan Williams, and you think about the speed and, catching 2 touchdown passes and that first collegiate catch. But that room is maybe deeper than what we thought it would be, probably 45, 60 days ago.
Yeah, and I really am going to be interested because, Ryan Williams just showed right off the bat that, he's a deep ball threat. And we kind of knew that, but you have to see it, right? I mean, and I think it was pretty evident there that he's going to make a lot of defensive coordinators nervous because Milroe throws that ball so well. And, to have those guys, and I think there's guys that we didn't see that have that potential as well. Certainly Jeremy Bernard, I think he only caught 1 ball. It was a great throw, actually. And then, others, Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, Cole Adams, Emmanuel Henderson got in the game. We'll see, how that all kind of comes together on that rotation. But, and I really was impressed with Cole Adams, just the way he fielded the punts, and he's got really good hands. You could see his quickness, his speed. He's very fluid. So he's a guy that I expect to get involved some too. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how they use these weapons, Ryan, once they get, like you said, I mean, they're really, by the time Simpson gets in the game, it's kind of a different flow to it. So you don't really get a feel. I'll be interested to see once they start throwing the ball some more, get those opportunities. I'll be really excited to see how it all kind of comes together.
Rodney, what do you expect with this South Florida game? Do you expect this as a redemption game? Because I know every time we've been in the building, it seems like those questions come up and the way that they respond. I know it's just one game, but I feel like that down in Tampa, they didn't play their best football last year. What do you expect in this game?
I think probably among the players, obviously it's a new coaching staff here. They weren't even there. So I don't know what that would mean to them. But so in terms of using that for motivation or whatever. But I do think some of the players probably remember all the things that were said after that game. I think it does make this a little more, I don't want to say important because I know it's important, but it might place some kind of emphasis on it for this game. To kind of ramp it up and show them what Alabama football really is, because it wasn't that day. From that standpoint, Ryan, I think maybe it kind of plays into the players' minds. And I would think for Milroe especially, because he didn't get to play in that game. So this is probably, maybe he has some sort of special feeling for that. We'll see. But they're really good defensively. I think they're pretty good. They haven't given up a touchdown. Of course, they played one game, but going back to last year, I think it's like 9 quarters or something. and they returned 17 overall starters. So they got a lot of experience coming back, South Florida does. And I think Golish is a really good coach. And I think that quarterback, Byram Brown, is very versatile. He's multidimensional. He throws the ball really well. He's very dangerous pulling it down. I think that's something I'm going to watch, is just him as a scrambler, a runner. How does Alabama contain him and not let him get loose?
It's one of the big topics of conversation. Roddy, before I ask you about Nick Saban, I'd like to go around college football a little bit. From your perspective, just the way that you watch the games of college football, we had a ton to watch, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we won't have as many games throughout the week. It is Thursday, and we have some. We have more tomorrow, and we'll get more on Saturday, obviously. But anything that grabbed you from the world of college football, maybe something that you expected or did not expect that grabbed you outside of Alabama?
Honestly, I think Clemson, you can say Georgia's good defensively, and they are, but Clemson looks like a mess to me. I mean, I couldn't have fathomed that, the offense that we once saw a few years ago that was so dynamic with the quarterbacks they had, and, the way they can move the ball and produce points would be where they are right now. I mean, they just look, and again, I understand Georgia's good, but it's deeper than that. That game is deeper than that, watching it. The quarterback has zero confidence. I don't know that they've got any playmakers ready. Maybe some of those young receivers. They got a few 5-star young receivers. And I think their defense, actually, Clemson's defense, is pretty good. I thought they did a really nice job in the first half. Then Georgia started using those, going to the edge a lot and beating them to the corner on plays, and that kind of changed things around a little bit. But I just think the defense kind of, frankly, just wore down a little bit because the offense couldn't do anything. And again, Georgia, their defense is good, but I think that Clemson offense is really, really in a mess.
Yeah, just think about, this from a Greg Byrne perspective, because prior to Kalen DeBoer, and I know it's just one game. We can evaluate this more even after the season, but think about the buzz of Mike Norvell. Dabo was maybe some, but for several years that was some, right? Everybody thought, but the luster has worn off of where Dabo is. And I respect him, love his faith, love how he incorporates that. I'm not one of those that's a hater of Dabo. Some people are, and I think it's simply because of his faith. I get that, but he's not willing to change. And who knows? He may ride this all the way to the unemployment line. But when you look at Dabo, you look at Florida State, how smart does Greg Byrne look right now?
Well, yeah, I know there's some people that say that DeBoer was the third or fourth choice, and I don't think that at all. I think he was number one for a while. I think he was number one for a while. I think, Greg Byrne did a thorough job starting a few years ago to prepare for that search. And so I think he did a great job. And, here's the funny thing. I hear people, and there's people that have really good opinions, and that you respect what they say. And, some of them will text or, I'll read what they say, and, you them and you respect them, but they'll say that, this defense will never work in the SEC. They give too much cushion. They're going to get eaten alive. I've received all these texts. And then on the flip side of that, I've heard just you hear just the opposite from different ones. But I say all that to say somebody texted me and was talking about this defense would not hold up in the SEC. And I said, here's the funny thing. For like 2 years, all I ever heard was throughout the season that Nate Oates' system was never going to work, And every year it seems like they advance farther and farther and farther, right? Now they go to a Final Four, and now you got almost every top player in the country wanting to play for Nate Oates. But all I heard was this system's not going to work.
Great point.
It's a faulty system. And so I just, Ryan, I think you're right. You do have to let it play out and see how it all plays out. But Kalen DeBoer is obviously an extremely bright coach. And if there's adjustments that need to be made, I think he'll pick up on it real, real quickly.
Speaking of another coach, Rodney, Saturday afternoon, they will rename officially, even prior to the South Florida game. It will officially become around 2:30 is when they will reveal the new signage, Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It gives us a chance to reflect on this 17-year run. We've done it so many different times, but now since we're a little bit over 48 hours away, or a little bit under 48 hours away from them renaming the field, how would you summarize 17 years? I mean, I know it's a book, right? I mean, you wrote that, Bigger Than Bama. It's part of your book that Rodney Orr published back a few months ago. But when you look at this 17-year run, how would you explain what Coach Saban was able to accomplish in trying to shorten down as much as possible?
I will tell you this. It seemed like a blur.
It really did.
I mean, it came and went. I mean, it seems like just a year or two ago that we were sitting in there when he was announced as a head coach. And, when he got here, people weren't really talking about national championship at the time, even though they wanted that. But everyone was talking about when will we beat Auburn, And then, of course, he beats them in 2008. And, I mean, all the accolades that he achieved, all the accomplishments that he achieved. Just pretty, amazing. I was really thinking, Ryan, at that time, okay, so what is the realistic expectations for Nick Saban when he got here? Once he got here, and all the kind of hoopla wore off, which it took a little while, but I just remember thinking one day, okay, now what are the realistic expectations now that he's here? And I thought, okay, maybe a national championship, that'd be good. But, just getting this program to be a top 5 program consistently, and then a national championship would be a cherry on top. I never dreamed 6 national championships. It's somebody said shortly that the greatest investment ever made in the state of Alabama was the one that Dr. Robert Witt made when he hired Nick Saban. And I think we've seen that all over Tuscaloosa and all over the state of Alabama, haven't we?
We have. I mean, think about the economic impact. I mean, we went through some ruts economically throughout this country and throughout this state, and Nick Saban really doesn't get the credit from an economic standpoint. Tuscaloosa didn't feel a lot of the pain that the rest of the country was facing simply because of the growth of the university. That, yeah, they felt pain. I'm not saying that they did not, but I mean, they were able to survive it better than some of the other places simply because Nick Saban, the economic value of this. I love to tie that investment side. I don't even know how you could even put a number on it, but it's, heck, I've got a job because of Nick Saban. You have a bigger job, better job, the interests around Alabama football because of, Coach Nick Saban. I mean, it's crazy. Drive through campus. Rodney, I get lost on that place, man. I mean, it's new roads everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll also say it's the greatest story, I've ever followed was the hiring process of Nick Saban, just looking back over it and how many people said it wouldn't happen. I mean, do you remember all the people laughing, Ryan, at Alabama for thinking that they had a chance to bring Nick Saban to Tuscaloosa? Do you remember that?
I do. Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, listen, Joe Namath, Joe Willie Namath. I'll never forget him saying on the show when Mal called him and said, Mal, he said, you better have a backup plan because I don't think that plan's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, but it did. And, it was an incredible time. And the last 17 years have been, phenomenal. And now here we are with Kalen DeBoer, and it's going to be real interesting because I think, the transition to where we are right now has gone extremely well, and I still have high expectations.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Find him on TiderInsider.com. Also order the Bigger Than Bama. You can find the link right there. You can get it where you get your books, but you can also buy it there. TiderInsider.com, TiderInsider.com. Bigger Than Bama. Hey, Rodney, I appreciate your time, man. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
Okay, Ryan. Thank you. Take care.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, at TiderInsider.com. We're going to continue. We're going to talk more Alabama Crimson Tide football. We'll squeeze in as many scores as we possibly can get. Always remind you about the pharmacy at Midtown. The pharmacy at Midtown. TJ Thomas. He's the Nick Saban of pharmacists. And I guess he could become the Kalen DeBoer pharmacist. Can I use that? I mean, one game doesn't make it a season, but I mean, he can't. Can he be both? I mean, he's doing it 2 different ways. The pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas. You go in, like you have no doubt. Like a lot of the pharmacists in our area, They went to where, right? Yeah, across the state, not TJ. So that's the first question you must ask. When you go in and you go to these big box stores, ask them where they graduated from, just to make sure. Because, I mean, you don't want somebody that might have participated in cattle science handing out your prescriptions that you're going to be taking if you want to get it from somebody else. I mean, so the pharmacy at Midtown, T.J. Thomas, that's important to me, and I'm sure it's important to you. I mean, I want to get human-grade pharmaceutical stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's straight from where legends are made. So,
and he's got a little Alabama polo normally. And normally TJ, and you walk in, got all the big prints, got a giant billboard placard of Coach Paul Bear Bryant. You look up, and you see all those dynasty moments. The pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas, the pharmacy at Midtown. You got the retail side, all the compounding needs, the only sterile compounding facility right there in Tuscaloosa, the pharmacy at Midtown. Let's continue. We'll do score predictions today. If you want to jump in, going to be a little bit busy as we travel. It's Rumsey Environmental. It's a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. When you have to know it's being done right, that's the time to call Rumsey Environmental, 205-248-0002, 205-248-0002. Let's continue. We're taking phone calls as we move on. Robert in Mobile. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game. Hey, Robert.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, good, man. How are you?
Oh, pretty good.
You know, I think I just disobeyed my producer. I think he just told me a lightning segment, but I was working on about 3 different things. So, Robert, you and I can talk right here, and then I'll take a break after this, and I'll get to the other callers. But I think he just gave me instructions, and I just went right through. Jackson, please tell me you did not say that. I mean, is my memory that bad?
I slightly mentioned it in passing.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay, my bad. All right, Robert, how you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, I couldn't get through yesterday. I waited too long. That's how it goes. Especially out of town, because I got to listen late because I'm listening over the internet. So I'm always behind you callers, way behind. So if I don't get in quick, I won't get in at all.
Yeah, you wanted to be the first guy out of the gate on a score prediction day. We are going to get some scores in here. It's I know it's Thursday. It kind of feels like a day that we should not be doing scores, but we did push it back because we wanted a Tuesday. We wanted to spend time reacting to a 63-0 win, right? I mean, that was a big win, and we wanted to react to it. We wanted to talk about it. I mean, it was something. And when you look at this football team, and we'll see if that continues. I mean, what if they come out and beat these same guys 63-0 or 55-6?
I think one person, you said that it may not necessarily be a revenge game. I tell you, one person who I really believe is a revenge game for will be Ty Simpson. I think I believe he'll want in at USF pretty bad.
Okay.
I think it may be some little revenge factor for him.
And that I really didn't think about that. That's why we have great callers, man, that love to talk about different things, because you do look at it from that standpoint. I mean, but he's got to depend on his teammates to get a big lead where he can get the football.
Oh, gosh, if we don't get a big lead in this game, I fully expect him to be in. I fully expect him to be in.
See, that's what happens when you score 63. You almost set the barometer there, right? You set the bar right there, 63-0. Hey, anything less than that, man, what's wrong? Alabama's struggling. But
well, if you're going to run this schedule that Alabama has, you cannot mess around with the Western Kentuckys and the University of South Floridas. You got to put them away quick. Otherwise, give up this season. You're not running this schedule. If you don't put away teams like that early, you're not running the Alabama schedule. Florida, anybody? One bad game. Yeah, that's it. You come out the gate like that against SEC with the SEC schedule today, you can give it up. You just give up your season because this SEC schedules are just too tough. Everybody's schedule is too tough. The teams you better beat them, and you better beat them bad. And there are going to be a lot of teams you may not beat on your schedule. And this is the new SEC. And Georgia, I know you mentioned Georgia's schedule of old. I totally agree with you. Those Georgia old schedules of old are gone. No longer you have a pathetic SEC East team to whip up on and pad those stats. Now you got to it's all season long, like what Alabama had to go through, which makes again, Nick Saban, what he did, so incredible. He didn't record these kind of championships and this kind of record playing ACC schools or SEC East schools, teams over the last, 17 years. He was in the West. He was doing it against the toughest competition in college football.
Amen. And he was also doing it because every rule they seemed to create was trying to – maybe that's what Nick Saban's legacy is. Yeah, it's 6 national titles. It's 9 SEC titles. It's all the different things that they were able to accomplish. But the other part is how many rules he had changed.
Yeah.
I mean, he changed a ton of rules. I mean, the reason we have 12-team playoff is really a byproduct of Coach Saban. Reason we went from 2 to 4 to 4 to 12 is a lot of it was because of Coach Saban.
And had we had this structure sooner, he would have gotten even more championships. Because a couple of seasons.
Robert.
You just lost one game? Your season's over? You couldn't overcome those voodoo dolls in Auburn one game, and you don't play for a national championship? Oh, that was killing me. That unfairness. But that's over now. Of course, the bad news is we get more games and we get a tougher schedule than we've ever had.
A 12-team playoff would be fine, but you've got to be able to manage the depth. I mean, you already see that around college football. I mean, that's the issue is you've got so many things happening at one time. Mm-hmm. You've got the portal. Because if you're a second-string guy that you think you should be a first-string guy, you're gone, right? You're out of here. And I'm not saying here, but any college football, in the top program. So you have the spread. The talent is spread out. So now you've got to be able to manage that. I mean, we're already seeing it one weekend. Will Alabama be able to navigate this injury to Caden Proctor? I mean, we're talking about they never even played a snap, and you're having to deal with that. And so then where do you go? Because you're thin. Do you have to move some things around to make it work? Only time will tell.
And a great time, but if there's a good time for an injury, this was definitely it. You get play teams that you should be handling, and you get other players more opportunity to say, hey, okay, you got to be first man up instead of second man up. Here's your chance. What you going to do with it? So this is a great time for, if you're going to get injured, here you go. Now, bad for Caden Proctor because, again, he doesn't get the feel for the real game against competition that we should be handling. So he's going to have to probably get in the game when he's blocking against Georgia.
Well, but think about where we've talking about, because he can get those practice reps. I mean, not that your live game reps and, quarterback wearing a no-contact jersey, it probably makes you have a little different mindset. But if you look at Caden Proctor, missing spring, did not go through spring. He needed the fall reps. He got those fall reps. So that's good. But from a standpoint of trying to get him back on that field quickly needs to be I know it's a priority. I mean, you hear Kalen DeBoer talking about it, but as the week has progressed, when you started on Monday, then you get to the Wednesday, the SEC teleconference. Coach DeBoer was at 3:30. And then last night on the Hey Coach, Kalen DeBoer show with Chris Stewart, he talked about it's more of a day-to-day thing. It's more of a day-to-day thing more than a week-to-week thing. So, and knowing – I know a little bit about the injury that he's got. I'm never going to be one of those that comes out here and reports this sort of thing. It is one of those things that a lot of it is just the pain tolerance. Can you be able to build that? Can you be able to navigate that pain tolerance? That's one of the big questions. And
I definitely look for this game to be. I look for it to put this team way early. I look for Ty Simpson to be in by the fourth quarter, and I look for him to have some revenge on his mind. So, what's the spread?
No, I'm sorry. This is score prediction. So it's Alabama, South Florida score prediction. We'll do the spreads tomorrow. But USF offense against Alabama's defense is the tiebreaker. Where do you want to go, Robert?
USF. That's the tiebreaker. USF offense versus Alabama. How many points USF gets on offense? The yards?
Yeah, offensive yards. My bad. I didn't say yards. Offensive yards against Alabama's defense. Trying to give recognition to the defensive side of the football for pitching a shutout.
Yeah. I'm not so sure they will be out for revenge, too. That team didn't make them look too hot last year. I'm going to do a good job. I'd say they get 7 points. 7 points.
All right, 7 points.
They luck up and get a touchdown.
All right, what does Alabama get?
The yards?
No. I mean, scores. Yeah, scores.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking for a score of 50. I'm going to say 55-7.
55-7. Total yards by South Florida against Alabama's defense is a tiebreaker. Maybe I didn't make that clear. Maybe that was my fault.
Yeah, total yards. Oh, man. I think I'm looking for revenge. They won't beat them as bad as the team last weekend. So that team didn't quite get, I'm going to say 185.
185. Thank you, Robert. I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
All right, man.
Hey, we'll continue with this out there listening. White, I'm just poking fun at you, but I feel like that I was at a George Strait concert or something. It was. I love country music. I'm a country bumpkin, from North Alabama. So country music is my style.
Me too.
But it doesn't get. It's kind of like when you go out to practice, you wouldn't hear Chris Stapleton out there going, whatever the song,
No, you're not
Tennessee
gonna hear
Whiskey
Tennessee
or what. So you need a little you need a little energized and
pep in your step.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to steal that playlist at some point. I think what I should do is break across the practice facility because that speaker is on that backside of that fence. See, I can get that iPad. I mean, somehow, some way. Now, that would be theft, would it not be? I mean, University Police Department.
Well, it depends how many contacts on that field you have that could maybe.
Were you saying like,
anything
okay.
to the authorities.
But I mean, they've probably got cameras. I mean, they got a million of them out there watching practice. Who's the idiot over
Saban
here?
and DeBoer may hire a PI to come get you. So
Cedric's that guy. Cedric used to be that guy because I've seen Cedric walk across the condos from that look practice. I've seen him walk over and ask people, get off the balcony.
I
get off
lived
the balcony.
across.
Did you
one
really?
Of those. Yeah.
No, you did
my
not.
sophomore year, I did.
You did not.
I did. My apartment complex in our lease made us sign an NDA so that we wouldn't record.
And if you're leasing, that would be one thing. But if I own that, if it was my condo that I purchased, I'd tell them to go pound sand.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Because that's part of the benefit, right? I mean, you're selling this condo.
That's the draw.
Because it is this close. What is it called? The Chimes? Is that what it's called?
There's the Chimes. Then there's an apartment complex called State on campus, which is where I lived. And then there's
Lane Kiffin lived over there too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man, there's some stories. Oh, my Lord.
A couple parties.
I can imagine.
Quite the loud
I would
apartments.
imagine that, the way I described Lane Kiffin, this is not going to be clean, but I'm going to do it anyway. Lane Kiffin, 20 years after he departed Tuscaloosa, we're going to have a look-alike contest in T-Town, and it will be very, very difficult to pick the winner. If he ever does one of those tests, what do you do, like the swab, the DNA test where you swab your mouth?
Yeah,
and
the saliva,
he's going to realize that he's got several more that he did not know about. I mean, he was a party animal. I mean, he was a party. I mean, listen, I heard stories that it just you make you scratch your head and you're like, please, did we really have the offense? And then it got to the end where Coach Saban just couldn't take it. I mean, he could not take it. And think about what it takes to get fired prior to a national title game. I mean, it was 7-8 days prior to national title game. Lane, you did that. Anyway, how did we get there? We're talking about condos and Lane Kiffin. It just brought back so many different stories, man. I could tell you some stuff off the air, and I just don't want to tell it on the air. I guess I've already told too much. Let's go to Bruce Marshall coming up in just a couple of minutes. We're going to break down some odds around college football. Take notes because we'll do our parlay pick contest tomorrow presented by Brian Harden Construction. That'll be a lot of fun. Take notes. We're going to talk about some of these big. Hey, we welcome you right back into the game. We're coming back with a little journey. Even though Kalen DeBoer may not be his favorite group, we've made it his favorite group, right? I mean, that's the indication. Until we get other words, I mean, Journey is going to be the 3 o'clock song. We kick Coach Saban's wagon wheel to the curb, right? We've been playing Journey, even though I've got some recommendations that people want to dive in a little bit different journeys. So, I mean, we don't know the favorite song. We just know the maybe favorite group, at least a top 5, maybe a top 6, maybe a top 7. Who knows? But we are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. If you're looking for Camry, Corolla, Highlander, RAV4, you'll find the 4Runner. Those are great options. Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. The service department, always great. Go ahead and get the financing lineup. You can also rent a Toyota right there at David DeSantis Tuscaloosa Toyota, reminding us to remind you the 3rd annual Tuscaloosa Toyota Golf Classic coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend at Old Colony Golf Complex. So go out and support these ladies LPGA qualifier right here in Tuscaloosa. Let's continue with more phone calls. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going back to the score prediction day, but we're going to talk to Bruce Marshall. He is a college football handicapper. He's a guy that loves college football. He's a historian of the game. We love to pick his brain. Bruce Marshall, Vegas Insider, CBS Sports Line, the Gold Sheet, the original, one of the longest running handicappers out in Vegas. Bruce Marshall, welcome back to T-Town. I hope all is well, my friend.
Hey, Ryan, nice to be with you. Yep, I'm happy football season's here.
Hey, absolutely, man. You guys are a little busy. It's like, we wait and we wait and we wait, and then we get the ball rolling, and it's like you can't even turn. And you're like, whoa, college football's here. NFL starting this week. I mean, football overload in this first 10 days.
It is, and just in case, basketball season starts in less than 2 months, at least in the NBA, and then college hoops too. So this is actually a fun time of year, and it's really ramping up. And we got that Chiefs and Ravens tonight. How about that? So it's a good weekend coming up.
We do, and I want to dive about a lot of different things, but I'm curious. Did Alabama, Western Kentucky grab you at all? The way that Kalen DeBoer got this season started with a 63-0 win.
Yes, it did. Because Western Kentucky is not a bad side. I mean, they won a bowl game last year. Tyson Helton, he's one of Jimmy Sexton's guys. He thinks he's going to probably land at a bigger job at some point. And it wasn't like, Auburn beating up Alabama A&M or Ole Miss knocking off Furman, some FCS sides. I mean, Western Kentucky's a legitimate team, and Alabama just no problem whatsoever. What jumped at me, though, and I was talking to people on other shows this week about Coach DeBoer, and I go back the last 2 years ago, really, at Washington. The situation he inherited there was bad, and immediately the Huskies turned things around under DeBoer. And I'll be careful how I say this, but for one season right now, I mean, he's doing a good job not trying to compare to Coach Saban, and like Saban there's only one Nick Saban, and that's how Coach Saban was about Coach Bryant. He would always say there's only one Bear Bryant. Yeah, but in truth, I mean, maybe for one shot in one season, we're not talking about a full career, just 1 year. I mean, DeBoer is every bit as good, if not better, I got to be careful how I say that, than Coach Saban at this stage. It reminds me a little bit, let me just go overseas for a second here, what Liverpool's got going on in the English Premier League right now. They've replaced their longtime manager, Jurgen Klopp, very successful, won the Champions League a few years ago, and great coach. Their manager, he retired, and they brought in Arne Slot from Feyenoord in Holland. And to this point, I mean, Slot's Liverpool looks better than Klopp's Liverpool last year. So you don't, just because you replace a legend at head coach doesn't mean you're going to regress. I mean, and I think DeBoer's got the perfect mindset for this. He's doing his own thing. And one other point, I like that Alabama went outside the family there to hire the new coach, because we've seen this too many times from schools trying to hire from the same coaching
from
tree.
Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, we saw with Ray Perkins, he didn't do that badly, but he wasn't Coach Bryant. And, when Bama went out and got Nick Saban, they went outside the family tree there, and they did this with DeBoer, and I think that's a smashing hire that Alabama made.
All right, so when you go into this game against South Florida, we know the way that Alabama performed last year in Tampa. South Florida returns the trip. They'll actually do a 2-for-1, going down there once. They'll come here twice. That's part of the contract. When you look at South Florida, what do you expect from this game? It's a big number, but it's one that's probably coverable as you look at this explosive offense, minus 31 for the Tide.
Yeah, it is pretty big. And one thing for sure, we're not going to see a 17-3 game like last year. Remember, there were some weather problems. They had a delay in that game. That was a game Milroe didn't start. So that was just a very odd game, the way that was for Bama in the schedule last year. And South Florida last year, listen, Alex Golesh did a nice job. He came down from Tennessee where he was Josh Heupel's coordinator. He put Tennessee's offense in there last year, and we didn't see it much in the Bama game, but throughout most of the season. And that last year, the freshman quarterback Byron Brown, I mean, they were potent. I mean, South Florida had games 40s and 50s they were scoring. So we'll see more points this week. But I would not want to bet against Alabama right now. I mean, they look laser focused. I'm not sure South Florida's that much better, if better at all, than Western Kentucky. And I don't think they'll lose by 63, but there's a lot of air there between that and a 31-point spread. And if Alabama looks as sharp as it did last week, I mean, this offense right now, I mean, last September, this offense wasn't humming like this. And it was before Milroe came back in there after that game and started to play better in the second half of the season. Right now, Alabama is humming. I think they probably get this number. So I'm going to give you a 49-14 score on this one for Bama. I think they roll.
Bruce, is it earlier in the season that you can take advantage of the bookmakers a little bit more than deeper in the season? Is that a truth behind that?
There's some truth behind that, but I mean, everything is sort of, each situation. And you try to look where you have a feel before the odds makers do. And that can also happen later in the season too, Ryan, because some of these teams that start playing better or playing worse, you can sort of take a lead on them. But I think you're kind of right here. Early in the season, you may have more opportunities to do that. If you have a feel that a team is much better than the odds makers might think. I'll give you one this week, and it's outside of the SEC, but Baylor is going up to Utah, which is now a Big 12 game. And I'm taking a lead with Baylor because I think they've got the quarterback transfer from Toledo, Dequan Finn. He was the MVP of the MAC last year. He's given that offense a completely different dimension. When Baylor won a couple of years ago under Dave Aranda in 21, they were able to run the football. They weren't able to do that the last 2 years. Finn gives them something completely different at quarterback. He's going to be able to run just because he can do it out of the quarterback spot. And that's the sort of situation you can take a lead early in the season with the team. So I'm going to do that with Baylor this week against Utah. And there'll be others, but generally I think you are right. I mean, there's maybe a few more spots you can find early in the season for that.
All right, let's go to some other bigger games, Bruce. Right now we're visiting with Bruce Marshall, Vegas Insider. He's a professional handicapper. He's a guy that's been doing it since the 80s. We love to be able to pick his brain. He loves college football the same way that we love it here in Tuscaloosa. Texas loads the buses, the airplanes, and goes to Ann Arbor. They'll go there as a 7.5-point underdog. I'm a favorite against Michigan on the road. Number 3 against number 10.
Yeah, I think we're pretty safe to say Texas is really good. I wonder if they're just a tad bit overhyped, but maybe not. We know Ewers is right there for the Heisman, and they're loaded. They got a lot of pieces back last year, although they had to make some adjustments at running back. That didn't bother them last week against Colorado State, and that's sort of illuminating here because these teams both played comparable Mountain West teams last week. Maybe Fresno, which Michigan plays, is a tick above Colorado State. But nonetheless, Michigan was in a real scrap with Fresno last week. That was a 6-point game midway in the fourth quarter. Texas, once it got rolling, it just blew away CSU. It was 52-0. I am not sure what Michigan's got right now. They're not going to be what they were last year, not just because Harbaugh left, but because most of the key players, especially on offense. I mean, McCarthy made that offense go the last couple of years. Blake Corum is now in the NFL with the Rams. So totally new. The offense didn't look all that good last week. Didn't even gain 300 yards against Fresno. He used 2 quarterbacks. So there's a big downgrade there. And, of course, I still think the jury is way out on Sherrone Moore as a head coach. I know he hasn't lost a game yet, including this few. He stepped in for Harbaugh last year. But I think Texas might go up there and take care of business because I'm just not sure how good Michigan is. And we saw Texas come into Tuscaloosa last year and win right about this point in the schedule. I'd lay it with Texas. I think they're going to win this thing by maybe 2 touchdowns up there at the Big House.
All right. Let's go with some of these other games. And you've already hit Baylor, Utah, so we'll skip over that. But Ole Miss is another team. It's got a lot of hype. I mean, a ton of hype. They'll take on Middle Tennessee State at home. And you say, well, Ryan, why are you asking about this? Well, I mean, other than just a handful of games, that's – I mean, this second week is – I guess it's just a tune-up to get to the season. But Ole Miss, Middle Tennessee State, Mississippi, Ole Miss, 42.5.
Actually, I would lay it with Ole Miss here.
Would you really?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like watching Lane Kiffin pulling wings off a fly last week against Furman. I mean, I know he took Jackson Dart out in the second half after he accounted for 6 TDs in the first half. I mean, they were up 73-0 well into the fourth quarter, and Kiffin kicked a field goal in that game. So, I mean, he's obviously not worried about running up a score, and it looks like this offense is humming. All those guys that came back, not just Dart, the runners, the line. I mean, it's a lot of returnees that that Ole Miss has, and it looks like they can run up a score. I am really worried here about middle. I didn't like what they did to Rick Stockstill after that last year. I'm not a big Derek Mason fan right now. I think they have downgraded there. They were kind of life and death with Tennessee Tech last week. They didn't come close to covering that number. I mean, this could be a 59-7 sort of game because it looks like Kiffin, he's not afraid to run up a score this year. We saw a lot of those big scores last week. I'm just not sure how much better middle is, this week than the Furman team that Ole Miss ran up the score against last week. I'll lay it. I know it's a lot of points. I'll lay it with Ole Miss.
Houston travels to Norman, Oklahoma. They go there as an underdog. Oklahoma minus the 29. 6:45 game on SEC Network. For all of us that have been DirecTV, we will not be able to watch that, at least until they get a contract. But Houston against Oklahoma. Sorry, Bruce, that was my soapbox because I have DirecTV and I'm a little bit upset at them just a little bit. Oklahoma minus the 29.
You know, it's funny. I went into one of my favorite places to watch games the other night, the BC Florida State game, and same thing. It wasn't on TV because they were DirecTV and they didn't. And I said, "Wait a minute, I got this on my phone." So I put I had the ESPN on my phone, so I was able to watch. So I hear you on that. Houston. Let's put this in perspective here. I love the Willie Fritz hire, but I don't expect Houston to do anything this year, and I certainly didn't expect them to get smoked by UNLV at home last week. They do have the quarterback Donovan Smith back from last year, but almost everybody else is new for Willie Fritz, and this is a total rebuild. And from what I understand, that was not a good situation at Houston. The player, they lacked discipline, and with Holgorsen, the way he ran sort of a loose ship. And it's going to take Willie Fritz a while to get this thing going. If they lose by 20 at home to UNLV, they could be really vulnerable here. Houston is way down from what it was. And this is another chance for Jackson Arnold to put up some big numbers. He's there. It looks like Brent Venables is going to, try to work as much as he can early here. Nice start against Temple last week. They ran up a score, a lot bigger spread than this. I'm not sure Houston's much better than Temple right now, to tell you the truth. So I'd probably lay it. I'd keep an eye on Jackson Arnold. I mean, Oklahoma, kind of gets lost in the talk with the move to the SEC. So I really think they're kind of an X factor. I mean, I've talked to some people who think Oklahoma may be a real surprise this year, and some think they may take some knocks. But at least early in the season against these teams they outclass, it looks like Brent Venables is not easing up. And they want to get Jackson Arnold some work, and he looked pretty good last week.
Tennessee, NC State, a game that also grabs our attention for the top 25 matchup. Tennessee minus the 10 in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, this has moved up, and it is a neutral game, although it'll probably be more NC State. Maybe not. I mean, Tennessee, they'll go to Charlotte, too, so there'll be a good ball contingent there. This is one of those, last week, one of those games. And by the way, I'm not sure we have to, all these FCS teams, so many of them got crushed last week in the opening week, like Chattanooga did at Tennessee. So I don't know if I want to get too carried away by that. But Nico and Maleva they like him there. I talked to people, they think he may end up being better than Joe Milton was last year. Not sure if he's up to where Hooker was a couple of years ago, but they like him. And don't want to get carried away by Chattanooga, but the result there, I'm a little wondering here about NC State. Really took a while to put away Western Carolina last week. I like bringing in the transfer quarterback from Coastal, Grayson McCall, but the Wolfpack, that was for all the teams that really rolled last week against a lot of the FCS, and maybe Western Carolina is not that bad, but NC State really was struggling. That was a 3-point game deep into the fourth quarter last week. So I think Tennessee will probably get there. You did mention the spread, and they're betting this one up. 6.5 early in the week, 8.5. Now we're seeing 9.5, 10s up there. So be wary of that. I'm not sure I'd want to lay much more than 10 with Tennessee out on the road, but it looks like NC State ain't quite where it wants to be yet. And I'm, SEC, ACC, I might go with the SEC side here.
Bruce Marshall, how can we get more? There's no way that we can go through all of these games. How can we get more from Bruce Marshall?
Thank you, Ryan. Check me out. You mentioned VegasInsider.com. We'll have a bunch of picks there this week. Got baseball, too, NFL, and, of course, college football. I'll have those all for this weekend. And VegasInsider.com, of course, you mentioned CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com, my stuff up there. Got a new one called Winners and Winers, WHINERS.com, and PicksandParlays.com. My picks all up over there in all those spots for this weekend and beyond.
Hey, Bruce, they're not letting me off the hook that easy. Ask him about the NFL. Yes, I know I'm a college football fanatic. Ravens and the Chiefs get started. Any feel in this game at all?
Under. Chiefs it's about 46.5, 47, too high. Lamar didn't play at all in the preseason. That's not unique. Many NFL quarterbacks didn't play, but he's got 3 new guys on his offensive line. They're going to start offensively, maybe a bit slow. I remind, this game was only 17-10 in the AFC title game last year. The Chiefs were a big under team last year, especially at Arrowhead, 8-1 to the under. That total looks too high to me. John Harbaugh's been a great opening game coach. I'm not sure I want to go that far with the Ravens on the side, but I will recommend an under in this one tonight at Arrowhead.
Hey, Bruce, we'll connect with you next week, man. Thank you for being a part of our show.
Okay, Ryan, take care.
Thank you. Bruce Marshall, always fun to pick his brain. We'll stop there. We're going to go right back to phone calls coming up here. Bama Nick, get ready. We're coming to you. We're taking your phone calls. Let me remind you about Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Call ahead orders, always a great option. Many times if I'm headed home, I call the family, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? Hey, pick up a great sandwich. They got so many great options, whether it's the Nuke's Q sandwich, right? Love that sandwich. Club. You know what's better than the club? You know what? You always hear me. The double club. Double club's better than the club, right? More is better. More is better. How about a French dip sandwich? Yes, sir, absolutely. And after campaigning for a long time, they've added that French dip sandwich to the menu. Thank you. Appreciate Joel Bromfield. I don't know if I had anything to do with it, but I just feel like I did. I mean, I feel like I need to tap myself on the shoulder because I love that sandwich, okay? No mayo. Take the mayo. Put it away. French dip sandwich, one of my favorite sandwiches there. The salads are always great. You can go with a lot of different things there. The ultimate, the favorite. They got Greek. They got Simply Salad. If you want to combo that into a soup salad combo, you could do that. Soup sandwich combo, you can do that. Salad sandwich combo, you can do that at our good friends at Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard. Close enough that you can smell the championships. And you never know who you're going to see there. Saw a few celebrities there at Nuke's, so close to campus. And I actually I text one. It was a former coach that was there yesterday, and ran into him and didn't want to interrupt, but sent him a text message later on. He said, man, why'd you not come over and say hello? Well, he's a guy that we featured, and we talked about Coach Saban about a month ago. He just finished up at Georgia. How about that? That'll give you a little bit of a hint. But Scott Cochran was in town and saw him over there eating with a couple of his friends. Didn't want to interrupt him, but did send him a message and say, hey, it's good to see you. Continue the great work. And, man, he continues to, on a platform, you think about Scott Cochran using something that was a negative to turn it into a positive. I like that type of mentality. I believe he spoke to a couple of fraternities. I don't know anything about the Greek system, Phi, Delta, Gamma, Theta, Beta, nothing, Ba, whatever he spoke. But he spoke to 2 different groups last night, a pretty big group. So I think kind of explained his valley of life and how you can learn from that and help others. So I appreciate Scott Cochran. I know he was in Birmingham today. He told me that he was. Jackson, you play good stuff like this. You know, I know it's good for me, but Bama Nick wants the trogs. I mean, he wants the trogs. I mean, you're going to have to find a way to get the trogs. I do tell you about Med Center Urgent Care Family Medicine. No appointment necessary. The super doctors who live and work in our community. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. The super doctors who live and work in our community. You've got Med Center in the Lowe's Shopping Center here on 69 South. You've got Northport. You got North River right off Rice Mine Road. You've also got our good friends down in Demopolis, Fayette, Hoover, Alabama. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. We expect the unexpected. All those great doctors that we have known for many, many years, they saw a need, and they fulfilled that need. Let's continue. You're going to give me a little trogs? You're going to give me a little trogs with, there it is. Nick, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm great, Ryan Fowler. How are you today?
I'm good.
I love my drugs. I love that song.
Does that just get you going? Does it really get you
It
going?
gets me going, gets me fired up. And you know what else gets me fired up, Ryan Fowler?
What is that?
Is when I call early, Jackson answers and he says, Bama Nick, we're going to get you in today. I said, okay, Jackson, but you can take your time today.
Oh, is that what you told him? It's like nice, Bama Nick.
I said, take your time. Put me off for about an hour and 15 minutes. Because I got to pour me one. I hadn't had a chance to pour yet. I didn't expect to get in at 3:10, you know. Okay. But I said, Jackson, thank you, sir. Thank you. I love that, Ben. I'm glad when you called me back and Bam Nick, I'm going to hold you over. I said, that's fine, Ryan, fella.
Yeah,
because I hadn't had a chance. I hadn't had a chance.
The number one caller to this, the number one caller to this show does it. You know what I mean? We're just, we don't need to put you at the top of the hour and kind of pin you against the break. I mean, we got to let you stretch your legs a little bit. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Plus, I had to work today. I told Jackson I had to go out and do a little work today, make me a little $100. So.
Oh, what'd you do? Campaigning?
No, I was out insurance, and we carried more.
Okay.
Carried more. My buddy that's running for election. Doing insurance today. We had to go to Albany, Georgia, Preston, Georgia, and then I stopped at the Salt Lick over there in Albany, Georgia, got me some beef jerky, some peppered beef jerky, Ryan Fowler.
It's called the Salt Lick?
Yeah, it's called the Salt Lick. Big business down there in Albany, Georgia. They got places everywhere.
Really? Okay.
But they got the best beef jerky you can get. Peppered, regular, whatever.
How expensive is this beef jerky?
Oh, well, it's $5.99 for about a fifth of a pound.
Oh, okay.
I went in, I told the lady, I said, well, give me $10 worth. She said, okay.
Now, is this like an actual, I'm going to look it up. The Salt Lick in Albany, Georgia. I don't know.
Albany, Georgia. Look it up, Ryan Fowler.
I mean, but
it's a big establishment.
Oh, Lord, man, this is fancy.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. It says Hog.
They got the great beef jerky.
It says Hog and Bones in Leesburg, Georgia. Where it's close.
No, that's the establishment next door to it. Okay. That's the barbecue place next door. Hog and Bones. I ain't been in there, but Kerry Moore and his wife went in there. Said they got some good barbecue in there in Bama Nick.
Okay.
I said, okay.
All right. Well, I'm glad you get. Oh, I'm looking at it now. Oh yeah. This is. So this place only specializes in the beef jerky, I assume, huh?
No, they got all kind of stuff. They got. Like, you can go in there and buy groceries. You can go in there and get beef. They got everything.
Okay. Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm a big beef jerky guy. We, when I usually, we'll drop a dough and our good folks down here will make a little deer jerky. You ever had a deer jerky?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've ate deer jerky before, but this is beef jerky.
Okay.
I mean, it's good.
Oh.
It's good, Ryan Fowler. You might want to
consider it. Okay.
Maybe I'll send you some. I'll send you some. I'll buy some.
No, you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do
that. Come on, Fowler.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I appreciate the gesture, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I know that.
All right, so here we go.
Maybe. What do you want to cloud about, Fowler?
I want to talk about Auburn in California.
Auburn.
Yeah,
why you want to talk about the Bugs for?
Well, I mean, the Bugs are they're going to be hosting California, and that's two weird birds, man. I mean, that's
take California.
Oh, is this a free pick? Okay.
Yeah, it's a free pick.
Bama Nick's pick of the week. Take California. Now,
I don't even know what the line is. What's the line, Fowler?
It's kind of creeped up a little bit. It's Hugh Hefner has been able to get some. He beat Alabama A&M 70-something points to whatever.
Well, it was school to blind. California's a little better school, I think. I think California. If you just tell me the line, Fowler.
It's 13.5. Auburn minus 13.5.
Take California. They'll cover that.
Okay. And we'll ask the professional Brad Powers coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But
that's another thing I want to talk about. Bruce Marshall, I was listening to him. He took damn score prediction today, Fowler. I was going to give you 49-14.
Well, no, you can. You can. That's your score.
I am. That's my score. He must have been reading my mind. I don't think he talked to my people.
Well, no, he told me he tried to call you today because he wanted your prediction.
I told Kerry Moore coming back from Albany, Georgia, I said, Kerry, I got to get on that with Fowler today and get my score prediction. I said, I'm going to go 49-14. He said, when Bama Nick, that sounds like a good prediction.
Okay. Solid, man.
Solid. Right. So I'm going 49-14 to get the preliminaries over with, and then I'll clatter with you about other things.
All right, and then we go South Florida total offensive yards against the University of Alabama mighty defense.
I'm going to go 223.
You know, that 63-0 was very impressive. The 63 was impressive, but pitching the shutout is hard to do in the world of college football. I mean, a 22-play drive, and you cashed in for 0.
That's right. And South Florida, I think, has got a little bit better offense and defense than Western Kentucky had.
I agree.
I think it's going to be a blowout. Alabama beat them 49-14. What else can I say? But it's going to go under 63.5.
Yeah. Bama Nick, you want to come up for the game?
You going to fly me up there in your jet?
No, but I was going to let you sit in my skybox. Going to put you in the skybox.
Well, you get me up there, I'll be happy to come up there for the game. Me and Miss Bama Kathy will come up there and sit in the skybox. You can bring your wife. We'll all sit up there, and you can let me get on there and talk a little bit.
But there's only one problem, though, Bama Nick.
What's that, Ryan?
I don't have a skybox.
Well, I figured you would.
I mean, it sounded good. Do you know? I mean, you know what I mean? It just sounded good.
Well, Fowler, I'm trying to get you worldwide famous.
Yeah, you are. You're taking me there. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I'm doing my best to get you there to where you can have a skybox. You can have one. Hell, you can have one up there next to Nick Saban.
Well, I don't know. That's a busy box over there. I mean, they got a lot of people in and out. I mean, Saban's box is like 50-yard line, straight on the field. Beautiful location.
Well, that's where we're going to be. And we can go in and out of his box. He'll come in and out of our box, and we sit there and pour us one, drink some Kentucky bourbon.
No, Saban doesn't drink. He doesn't.
Oh, don't give me that crap, Fowler. I know better.
No, he doesn't. He does not participate.
Well, he don't participate with you.
You saying you'd pop a? I mean, a guy from West Virginia. That's hard to believe, is it not?
A guy from West Virginia don't pour a drink. I don't know how to put it, but hell, all they got up there is like they're on the border of Kentucky, and all they did was moonshine.
Oh, is that what they? Okay.
I've been to West Virginia, I've been to Kentucky, and I drank some good moonshine up there in it too. All right, come on, fellas. Let's talk about something.
No, I think we've covered it. I mean, we covered.
No, we ain't.
I mean, we started the phone call with you explaining why you were going to be voting for Kamala. We ended the phone call.
Wrong. I don't remember saying that now, fella. I
you
don't
said
remember
you
that
were out campaigning. I don't know any. I mean, why campaign?
I wasn't campaigning. I was out helping people, the elderly people. Me and Karen Moore help the elderly people.
But I mean, when you're out there helping them, do you work in a little political? Just
No, we don't. When you're talking to people in the insurance game, you don't talk politics, Fowler.
That's what they told.
You don't know what their affiliation is, so you don't want to.
What if they bring it up?
Well, if they bring it up, then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So you don't have like your Kamala T-shirt on when you're talking to them?
No, I wear my Trump hat.
Okay, you do wear the Trump hat. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. All right, Bama Nick.
You got me, Fowler.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't want to hear that, Fowler. Now,
Yeah.
I stay on hold for an hour.
No, but I got to run. I mean, I'm running a little bit late, but I will tell you, man, your picks last week stunk it up, man. I mean, you
No, they didn't. I went 2-1.
You know what that is, don't you?
Yeah, it's a crow.
Yeah, it's an L.
Well, I don't think. I think I tied with Paul from Lincoln.
I mean, what does that get you?
Well, it gets me and Paul second place.
I got you. All right, we got to run, Bama Nick. Roll Tide.
Yeah, okay, Ryan. But let me ask you this: Who did win the parlay pick?
We'll announce that tomorrow.
Okay. Well, if my name shows up, then you're going to say Bama.
I mean, you got to go 3-0, and you didn't do it, so that eliminates you. So you got to hit 3-0.
Well, who went 3-0? Some pup.
We had several. We had several. No, we don't have buzzard callers. I respect them all the same.
You do.
All right, Bama Nick, I got to run, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Ryan Fowler, and I'll have my picks tomorrow.
Okay. SEC Parlay Pick Contest presented by Brian Harden Construction. I do remind you about the Standard, thestandardbama.com, home of the 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni, meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. The great cheese sticks, you'll find those. Mac and cheese bite, yes, sir, absolutely. The wings, the boneless wings, thestandardbama.com, thestandardbama.com. Home of the 20-inch pizza, Southern Ale House. Either location, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. Also, Dockside, which just opened a couple of weeks ago. Had a little soft opening. Those of that had a chance to experience it last week. Fried shrimps off the charts. That's where I recommend. And I've got to get back up to Southern Ale House on the Dockside up at Marina Drive, about 3 miles north of Winn-Dixie on Highway 43. Right there on beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Lake Tuscaloosa. Southern Ale House, either location, you'll find it there. 1530 McFarland Boulevard, a little closer to campus for those trying to sit a little close to campus for the upcoming game. And also Dockside, Southern Ale House. Let's go to Robert in Brookwood. Robert, good afternoon. How are you, my friend?
How are you, brother?
How are you? Man, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, if I could have just talked to you Sunday night. I slept so good Sunday night. You know why?
Why? Why? Why?
LSU.
Why, Robert? Oh, my Lord. I know you hate him. I know you hate him.
I'm going to say this. I don't know if many's going to agree with me. Brian Kelly's not an SEC coach. He's a Northern coach. And that little fake mashing his hand down on the table. You know, all he's going to ever get out of them is 9 or 10 wins. And they could look up and beat Alabama this year, and everybody be back that he's the greatest. But I just don't think he's an SEC coach. Do you, Ryan? Or am I wrong?
Right now, all he can do is hang his hat on a mistake that we made down in Baton Rouge, and we made a mistake. We did. I mean, they caught us.
The mistake was the stupid defensive coordinator we had at the time. Forgive me. Everybody ought to know, saw that play coming, and he couldn't stop it. So whatever.
Brother Pete's one of the reasons why I don't believe in our friends from Oxford, Mississippi.
Ole Miss has had good teams the last 2 years, but there's always at least 2 games every year that he just don't show up. He's chokes against Bama the last 2 years. I mean, they just can't seem to score points. I mean, you could have told me from the beginning of the year that they would have just scored 10 points in Alabama last year. I thought, no, there's no way. And then just some games he chokes up on. So until Lane can change that, it's just you got to expect the same.
Defensively, getting your head around last week was something that was a welcome sight to see. It was look at that defensive side of the football. And scheme-wise,
looked good. I was a little worried in the first half about a lot of penalties. I thought, here we go again, but I think they only had one in the second half, and that's the first game. We can get that changed. But overall, it was a good performance. And to my Tennessee fans, that one of them wanted to text me about the demolishing they did to Tennessee Chattanooga, and we didn't play nobody. And I thought, well, you go back and look at the previous time Western Kentucky played Chattanooga. I think they beat them 35-7. I think it was just last year. It might have been the year before. So I don't see much difference. If not, maybe Western Kentucky is a little better than Chattanooga. But we'll deal with them the third Saturday in October.
Gotcha. Yeah, and hey, we'll let them. What do they always say? Let the cards fall where they may. But you got to feel pretty good about Alabama, the offensive side of the football, and the one thing that could prevent Alabama's injuries. You've got to be able to manage these injuries, and even before the season gets started, here we are. I mean, a warm-up. I mean, a player and warm-up. Somehow we got to shake this injury bug. Hopefully it doesn't, impact other than that one position.
Well, can I ask you something? Are we a better team with or without Caden Proctor?
No. I mean, there's a reason why he's a starting left tackle. I mean, Mike Tillier teaches us that all the time, right? I mean, Caden
Proctor. New guy come in and did pretty good, so I'm just not a Proctor fan. I'm sorry. He could have stayed in Iowa for all I care.
Come on, Robert. I mean, listen, there's a reason why, man. He's a future, high pick in the NFL. He's worked his butt off to get in the spot, but we need. Hopefully, he can get back healthy. But I mean, here's the reason why he's a starter, Robert. I mean, he's the best option.
I know, brother. I'm just pulling your leg. I just don't like him, but he is the better player overall, I guess, for that position.
Yeah, because I think, and I don't dislike Elijah Pritchett, but he's got to have a want to. He's got to have a more attention to detail. He's got to be able to, you're asking a guy that Wilkin Formby beat out at the right tackle spot, even though they were going to rotate going into that game, but Wilkin beat him out at the right tackle spot. And you step back and you go, okay, you're going to ask a guy that couldn't win the right tackle spot to play your most important position on the offensive line? That's a challenge, Robert.
Well, the thing is, he got the experience in the other night, so that helps him a lot. It can't hurt him.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Upset special this week coming from you about anybody?
No upset. I don't see anything out there. Nothing that grabs me. I mean, Texas is going to beat Michigan on the road. Tennessee's going to beat NC State at Charlotte. I'm not really buying that. Tennessee's a good-looking football team, man. That's why I was hoping that Brent Venables would crash and burn and Josh Heupel would go to Oklahoma and let Tennessee crash and burn. But I don't know. It looks like Brent Venables has been able to navigate some of the challenges that were in front of those guys.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll see about Tennessee. I think it'd be a little better game, but they should beat NC State. But we'll see.
All right. Give me a score, Robert.
45-10.
45-10, South Florida total offensive yards against your Alabama defense.
275.
I got it, man. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother. It's good to hear
back to you. We'll go to Brad Powers coming up in 3 minutes. He breaks down college. It's his favorite group, 60 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball. Earlier today, there was an exhibition game with Wake Forest coming up later in October. Going to play another one in Huntsville, the Rocket City against Memphis. 60 days away, Alabama could start as the number one team on the basketball side of things. Tuscaloosa Toyota powers the program. TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325. Scott Boulevard and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. The third annual Tuscaloosa Toyota Golf Classic, the LPGA qualifier, September the 9th through the 15th, Old Colony Golf Complex, presented by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Also in partnership, Alabama Credit Union is a big part of that. They're the ones who give our countdown opportunity to you, 60 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball. Let's go to Brad Powers. Brad Powers Sports, Brad Powers 7 on the Twitter account. Hey, Brad, welcome back to T-Town. I hope your day is going great.
Hey, thanks for having me, as always.
Hey, Brad, let's go back to last weekend. Ask you about Alabama, Western Kentucky, 63-0. What do you think?
Well, obviously, far exceeded expectations. I mean, covered the point spread by 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, arrow's got to be up when you have that much of a disparity between expectations. And expectations basically are the point spread of a game, heading into a game. So, obviously, a lot to take away. I thought it was still sloppy, though. I mean, if I was a coach, I'd still have plenty to work on if I was Alabama. But, true freshman flash, to say the least. Williams at wide receiver, running backs, flashed. I mean, he had a lot of explosives there. Jalen Milroe looked the part. I don't know. Alabama just looked like a top 5 team in the country. Now, get a little bit of a better idea this week. I do think, despite the point spread being similar, I do think South Florida's a little bit better than Western Kentucky. So, get another data point this week to just see how good this Alabama team can be.
All right, let me ask you about South Florida. This is a big number. Once again, another 1 point spread according to the experts in the desert. We always like to say, where do you see this game? Would it be something that you would touch?
I have not touched it yet, believe it or not.
Hold on, whoa. I mean, Brad, you touch a lot of stuff, man. I mean, if you're okay, all right. So you're hesitant.
Yeah, I have not hit the Alabama yet this season, which is got to be one of maybe 10 teams in the country that I haven't bet side or total on a game yet. Gut instinct says South Florida plus 31, just because I look at value as far as comparison to last week's line. And again, I think they're quite a bit better than Western Kentucky. And over South Florida's offense is pretty good. I don't think South Florida's offense will do what Western Kentucky did, and that's whenever they got down in scoring, red zone, they'd stall. So, I mean, what does that equate to? That means over for me.
Okay. Brad, when you look at the upcoming game against Texas and Michigan and Ann Arbor, is Texas a favorite on the road against the national champ from last year? What do you think?
Well, I thought a very key move in the marketplace happened in the last hour, and that's the biggest game of the week on a key number of 7. It was 7.5. I agree with the move on Michigan, taking the hook away on a low total. I like Michigan's line of scrimmage against Texas, particularly Michigan's defensive front. I think it's still elite, still one of the very best in college football. So, and again, look, it's not a very liquid market, but prior to last week's games, you could have bet this game at pretty much any sports book in the world, and Texas was 3.5. And now, just 1 week later, they're a touchdown favorite on the road. I think it's a little bit of overreaction to 1 week of data. So Michigan for me. I'm not saying Michigan wins, but I'll take the 7.
Okay, so you would take the Michigan plus the points. The other game is Tennessee and NC State, the other only top 25 matchup that I see out there. NC State going to go there as an underdog in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tennessee minus the 10.
Yeah, money's been on Tennessee all week. I mean, over 6.5, it's up to 10. So, a lot of value wiped away. Now, you bet numbers, not teams. So, if it just ticked up 1/2 point higher, I would be more inclined to take the NC State side of things. But, I mean, how could you not be impressed with what you saw at Tennessee? 718 yards last week. Nico played just 1/2 of football, but looked the part. Tennessee's defense was pretty violent. Chattanooga's a top 25 FCS team. And, I mean, they treated them like, a little sister, a kid sister. So that Tennessee offense looked a lot more like the 22 Tennessee offense than it did last year's offense. So, and NC State obviously trailed in the fourth quarter against Western Carolina. I mean, if you're comparing a power rating, Western Carolina and Chattanooga are about the same. So they're two very disparate results. I agree with the big-time line move here. I think Tennessee is the right side, but it's not the right price at the current number.
You've got Kentucky going to be hosting South Carolina. South Carolina struggled against Old Dominion last week. Kentucky minus the 10 up in the Bluegrass State.
Yeah, another key move today, this afternoon. 10s were wiped out. It's now 9. I agree with the move there. Thursdays usually are our big mover. It's when the limits open up. It's when the guys that are betting 6 figures can get down. So you normally see them on Thursdays and Fridays. I consider these moves to be very sharp. I don't consider the stuff on game day unless it's injury related to be very sharp. So again, South Carolina 10-9. I agree with it. I bet South Carolina plus 10. Now I will say this: I watched the game this morning, the South Carolina Old Dominion game. Oof! I mean, South Carolina is extremely, extremely fortunate. Forget covering. They didn't. They should have lost the game outright as a 3-touchdown favorite. I mean, Old Dominion fumbled inside their own 10-yard line twice, setting up 2 touchdown drives for South Carolina, totaling 9 yards. And then Old Dominion on 1st and goal threw an interception in the end zone. I mean, take away any one of those 3, and Old Dominion might win the game, let alone 3. So I did not like what I saw from South Carolina, but this also seems like a pretty, buy low spot, because this is another game you could have bet just last week, and Kentucky was favored by 4.5.
California got to be traveling to Lee County. When they get off the plane, they're going to think, where in the world are we at? They do things different down in Lee County. They do things in Berkeley a little different as well. But California, 2 weird birds meet 1 weird bird. Auburn minus the 13.5 down in Lee County.
I'll lay the points with Lee County. I'll Auburn for me. That's what I bet, but I'm again super high value at 13.5, and anything under 14, I'd be more interested in Auburn. I do think they're improved at wide receiver. Now they played, Little Sisters of the Poor last week. A really bad FCS team. And there's obviously a difference between playing North Dakota State and one of the bottom 10 FCS teams. So obviously kudos for them for putting a 70 spot on the board, but we'll get a better idea. Obviously, this week, California give them a little bit more resistance, but I still think this is a 2-touchdown win for the Tigers.
Arkansas is going to Stillwater, Boone's Pickett Stadium. Oklahoma State minus the 8. 2 teams 1-0, getting the early start. 11 a.m. ABC, ESPN+.
Yeah, really good game as far as gauging a power rating. Now, I just got done saying there's a difference between FCS teams, and big difference with Oklahoma State beating South Dakota State, the 2-time defending national champ that won 29 consecutive games, than Arkansas playing Pine Bluffs at bottom 10 FCS team. So again, don't overreact too much to what Arkansas did last week. I'm really intrigued to see if this one continues to drop. I disagree with the line move in this case. It's down to 7.5. I'm closer to 10. I haven't bet it yet, but man, if it goes to 7, it's a big buy for me on Oklahoma State.
Baylor's going to Utah. Give me your thoughts on that game.
Yeah, I like Baylor quite a bit, and I bet Baylor. I've given out Baylor, so anything above 14, which is where it's at right now, I like Baylor. I think they're one of the more improved teams in the country. Utah, we're just giving way too much credit for them with Cam Rising being back again. Both didn't play anybody last week. We got a couple of blowout wins over FCS teams, so we'll get a better idea. But I mean, I think Baylor will be improved on defense this year.
Boise State leaves Boise, obviously, to travel to Eugene, Oregon. They'll go there as an underdog. Oregon minus the 21.5.
Yeah, big move today on Oregon. I agree with it. I think it's a blowout. I mean, Oregon sleptwalked through last week's game, although I will say this. If there was a concern to take away from that game, I know Oregon was like a 45-point favorite and only won by 10, so a lot of people should be really concerned, but I wasn't. I mean, they dominated the box score. But what they didn't dominate is at the line of scrimmage on offense. Last year, Oregon, for the entire season, gave up 5 total sacks. They gave up 3 last week to Idaho. If they are going to meet expectations, and that's not only to make the playoff, but make the semifinals of the playoff, they got to shore that up. They're not going to have a problem on Saturday night. They'll be focused and treat Boise State like a big-time opponent. So I like them there, and I like them to cover, but if they're going to beat the Buckeyes and anybody else that's big time on their schedule, offensive line's got to get way better.
Clemson got beat by Georgia last week. I'd like to ask your thoughts, and then we'll move to this App State game with Clemson minus the 60.5. You can tie it into the same question, but Clemson, what would you see? Certainly a little depressing over in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, as far as Clemson's no longer a national championship program. It just is. It's over. I mean, that game showed it. The line before the game showed it. Even though some people were betting Clemson prior to it, the line dropped. But they can still compete in the ACC. Although we'll see how good Miami really is. But this is a team that's no longer a national championship contender. A team that won a couple of national championships and played for a couple here in recent memory, and just no longer the case. And obviously, you can point towards not going in the transfer portal. You put in 4 or 5 key starters in that lineup. Not saying they beat Georgia, but the game's a little bit more competitive. We're singing a different tune now. I do not get what Dabo's doing there. Nobody's asking him to become transfer U and take 25 guys a year. 5 would certainly help that roster, and he's just not doing it. So we'll see after this year. I mean, after he loses 4 games again, then maybe somebody will force his hand, or maybe somewhere down the line he's out of a job. As far as this game, I left it. I only left 5 seconds for it because I don't see much value. 17 is where I made it.
Ohio State minus the 38 against Western Michigan. Last week we saw a little fight in Western Michigan. Any chance they keep it somewhat respectable here in Columbus?
Yeah, they could, and I'd rather take the points than lay them, because the Buckeyes. I mean, if nobody's watching that game, they're playing Akron, 17-3. Late second quarter as almost a 50-point favorite. So. And Ohio State did not end up covering the full game spread, despite the fact they're +3 in turnovers and scored 2 defensive touchdowns. Usually when you do that, you cover like 90% of the time. They didn't. So I still think this Buckeye team, yeah, they're really good. They're not this historically great team like, guys like Urban Meyer saying in the media. I'm not buying it.
Well, now let's go back, Brad. We talked about Ron Day throughout the offseason. The expectation was certainly national championship or bust. You feel different about that?
Oh, I mean, it's Michigan or bust. He's got to beat Michigan. I can tell you that safely. But, I mean, if they went to the title game and lost by 3 to Georgia, they're not going to fire him. Come on.
USC.
But, people will be disappointed. Sure. I mean, he's not going to get fired.
Well, you spent, $20 million in the portal or whatever least reported?
Oh, I've heard more. I've heard $30 million.
Whew, man.
I'm not making that up. I've heard it from a few different people I trust.
USC minus the 28.5 against Utah State. Big win over LSU, and we can work our way into LSU as well. But USC, a lot of confidence around the Trojans.
Yeah, one less day of prep here off a big win. I'd be more inclined to take the points here with Utah State. Haven't made the bet yet because, I will say this. I think USC is going to be much better on defense. Lynn, the new defense coordinator, is a rising superstar. I expect him to be a head coach, whether it's college or the NFL. Obviously, his dad's got NFL lineage. They looked functional last week, so kudos for SC. They'll get an easy win here, but I have no inclination to lay 28.5.
Brad, when Brian Kelly arrived in Baton Rouge. I say he'd win a national title in 5 years. Do I just go ahead and admit that I'm wrong and move on?
Oh, I mean, the window's starting to close. And,
yeah, it is. I'm starting to be a little embarrassed because I thought he would have more success with all that talent in that state.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I mean, we tried to warn the LSU people. And they said, it's the Notre Dame program. No, Brian Kelly does not win big games. He just doesn't. And whatever, it's always something with him. So we'll see what ends up happening at the end of the year. But, I mean, LSU's going to be a 9-3 team this year. And then you look at next year, they're going to lose a couple of, the premier tackles. We'll see if they can hang on to the quarterback. Maybe not. If that's the case, then they may be starting a true freshman. It looks like, just projecting forward, it looks like a 3-loss team next year. So when does he ever get over the hump? The answer, we have the answer. This is a guy that's never won, forget national championship, he's never won a major bowl game. Come on. He said himself, he always talks and brags about how many years he's coaching. He was even on the field telling Lincoln Riley, this is my 34th year doing it. If he hasn't done it in 34 years, do you think he's going to do it in the next 2? I don't think so.
Hey, just a pizza side. I know college football is your passion, but the NFL gets started. You love to focus on college football in general, Ravens and Chiefs. Any value here, Kansas City minus the 3?
Yeah, no value. Not at that number, unless you want to take the 3 with the Ravens. So I would say keep it simple. The line has been up for 6 months. It's the NFL. It's the most liquid betting market in the United States. If you think you've got a big value bet, not saying that it won't end up coming true and winning the bet, but if you think you got something over this line, I got some oceanfront property to sell you right here in Vegas because I don't see much value. If I had to bet it right now and I absolutely had to be involved, I would take a $20 bill and put it on Kansas City minus 2.5.
Brad Powers, BradPowersSports.com, Brad Powers 7 on the Twitter account, Brad Powers Sport. If you're looking to, after week number 1, you say, I need a little expert to call in on the action, help me out a little bit, BradPowersSports.com, Brad Powers Sports, Brad Powers 7. There's a lot of content on the Twitter side of things. Brad puts up a lot of content. He's on a lot of great radio shows. He also does a podcast. You can connect with everything he's able to do. He's a college football power guy. He's a podcast at Bet the Board. Free picks at the covers, hit the books. You can find all of that at Brad Powers 7 on the X account. Brad, have a great rest of your week, man. Good luck to you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, as always.
Thank you, Brad.
Bruised ribs, but good spirit.
I got you. Hey, I guess that's what it takes. Well, I hate to hear that. I wish your friend nothing but the best, man.
Well, Ryan, I knew you had a background in that, so I wanted to relate.
And listen, man, I used to try to avoid Saturdays working at the DCH hospital. I would try to avoid it because it was crazy. Not only the accidents, falls, stuff like that, but the alcohol begins to get to flowing a little bit, and there's all. Our emergency room used to be just packed. You would hate to work during the games, like the draw the shortest straw. It's like punishment. You'd go in and. It was like a crazy, just hectic, crazy environment.
I don't envy anybody in the emergency room, I tell you. Well, let me give you my score where I'll get out of the way and others can call in.
All right, talk to me.
Bama 49.
Okay.
The Bulls 6. And I'm going to say 265.
Okay, 265. I got it 49-6, 265. Hey, Ram, thank you, man. Appreciate you saying that about my folks in the EMS. As we go off the air every day, I think, law enforcement officers, EMTs, firefighters, first responders, highway patrol, because, when we're out there kicked back watching the game, they're out there working. And so we're appreciative of those people that are willing to sacrifice for our benefit.
I'm glad you do that, Ryan. They deserve it.
Thank you, Ram. Roll Tide.
Have a good one.
Hey, Northport Power Equipment, Husqvarna dealer, Skag Commercial Mowers, Residential Mowers, Echo Outdoor Power Equipment. It's our good friends right there in Northport Power Equipment, 2 blocks east of the Northport Civic Center. Go over and see Brian and Keith Ellis. Leaves are beginning to fall in West Alabama. You want to clean those up. Little chainsaw needs, pole saw needs. They can fulfill all of your requirements. If you need to buy a new one or just purchase supplies for a current one, you can find it at Northport Power Equipment. Go over and see those guys. Crest battery operated tools by Husqvarna. you can find our good folks right there at Northport Power Equipment. Brian Keith Ellis, Mr. Ellis, appreciate those guys for always being a part of our station. And Northport Power Equipment, always, man, always. Let's continue with more. And here we go. Let's go. JR, Coker, Alabama. JR, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Well, it's doing very well. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, I got a little suggestion.
Okay.
Something for Bama Nick.
Okay.
He's going to be our beer leader.
He's the leader in the clubhouse. There is no need to go out and play the second round. He's the winner.
Well, I'm talking about he's out there, in front of all the people in the stands, like with the cheerleaders, but he's the beer leader.
Roll Tide.
You don't get me. Roll Tide. I like it. I think he'll like that.
The beer, like the beer leader. Okay.
Yeah. Get it? Yeah, you getting it now. I thought it was fun. I just thought of that when he was on just a while ago.
Like the beer leader?
Beer leader.
Like B-E-E-R, beer.
Like beer. Like Pat's Blue Ribbon. He's the beer leader. Instead of a cheerleader, I thought that was funny. Come on. But anyway.
Jay, here, I'll be here all day. I'm still trying to work on that one. I think you got it, but maybe I'll have to get Tony coming up in a couple of minutes to explain, or Super Joe, because I'm
explain it to you. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe Super Joe's.
Well, you could even spell leader like in a Coca-Cola 2 liter.
Oh, now we're stepping ahead.
Beer leader. Yeah, there you go. That would work even better, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Are you sipping the?
I am. You caught me. I'm caught red-handed.
Yeah, I can tell.
I'm actually having my car washed, and I'll give them a good word there. That it's Mark 1 car wash here off McFarland near Walmart in Northport.
Okay.
There you go. They're very good little automatic car wash. You can scrub little spots outside, and then they got a free vacuum thing outside after you get through with the wash. I like it. I've got a little deal. I just come through as many times as I want.
Oh, there you go.
So, but anyway, it works out. It's worked out real good since I've been handicapped for the last month and a half.
Well, I hate to hear that, JR. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better, though, if you're out washing your car.
And having a drink for crying out loud. That's the first time I've had anything really to drink. And, it's just a sip or two. I've had literally.
So are you drinking and driving? Is that what you're admitting? And you just told the
police? No, somebody else. No. Somebody else is driving my car. We're going running it through the car wash.
Okay.
I'm introducing them to the people here so that they can get their car brought over here and do it.
Okay.
The same thing.
All right. Well, you got.
No, I never drink and drive.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, the rest of Tuscaloosa does as well.
Be sure that all the police heard that. I ride and drive, but I don't. I ride and drink, but I don't drive and drink. And when it comes to a motorcycle, I don't even ride one of those drinking. And heck, especially one of those. I ride a Harley every now and then. You like Harleys, don't you?
I worked at the trauma center way too long. So yeah.
Well, I've rode bikes my entire life, and
I'm not criticizing the person on the motorcycle. I just know how people respect it.
Well, I do know. You know what? I was careless as a young guy. I had an accident, and I'd been traveling 155 running from the law.
Okay.
Down in Thomasville, Alabama, and I ran out of gas, and they caught me.
Roll Tide. I'm glad they caught you. All right, man. Well,
yeah, you know what? I am too, because I learned a real good lesson.
How many beers have you had?
I learned a real good lesson. So just always fill up your tank before you run from it. That's a lesson I learned. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm glad I got to chat with you for a second before we got into serious.
Me too, JR. I don't even know what to, I said me too. I don't even know what to say, but I'm playing along, JR. I'm trying to play along, man. I mean, I'm glad you're not.
My song after that got pulled over for doing 155. I go, I can't drive 155. So,
something tells me, are you? You're. No, I'm just saying you're not driving today, though, right?
Oh no. In fact, I'm only like, I live in Coker, and I'm right here by the Walmart in Northport. Even if I were driving, it wouldn't be very far home.
Well, yeah, but
I wouldn't. I don't drive. No, I'm not going to drive.
I'm just glad you're not. I mean, you don't sound like a guy that needs to be behind the wheel, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I could, but because I hadn't even had it but a couple sips. It just, I hadn't drank anything in so long. Those couple sips are working mighty good. Anyway, so let me go ahead and get you a score in here. I believe. Yeah, the other day you asked me to help you out during the show, and I couldn't do it. So today I did.
Yeah. You sound you sound sick as a dog.
If I think so, as long as I think so, huh?
Yeah. Well, and anyway, I want to alert Northport Police Department. What are you driving, JR?
I'm not going to tell you.
Northport Police Department.
Just tell them it's not. Tell them it's perfectly clean. Oh, that's all you can tell them.
Yeah, clean vehicle. If you see a clean vehicle that just came out of the car wash there, check him out. Make sure.
Yeah, I hear you.
They'll have you in a bicycle. Is what it sounds like to me. JR, give me a score, man.
All right, 52-13.
Okay.
And I want to give them 222 yards. Last week I got one thing right, pretty close anyway. I said the yardage was going to be 333, and I think it wound up being 334.
That doesn't get you a lot. You gotta get a little closer.
No, it made me grin because I already knew I'd lost. But that part, I said, hey, at least I won that. I can put it in there where the rest of my pocket went. All right, roll tide, Ryan.
Thank you, JR. We appreciate that. Let's go to Super Joe. Super Joe, you're in the game. I hope all is well, man.
What's up, man? It's harder and harder to get on this show. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, it is. It is. JR was he was feeling good, wasn't he, Super Joe?
Oh, JR's feeling it. Oh yeah, I know he's feeling it. But man, I'll tell you what. Yesterday, I got a chance to go see the head coach and meet Kalen DeBoer for the first time.
Did you really? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you do a little name drop? Did you say
Super Joe, yeah, Chris Stewart and them, the new voice of Alabama, they kind of put me in the clear on that, kind of knew me off the bat.
Okay. So what'd you ask Kalen
about the South Florida game? He elaborated real good and stuff like that.
So repeat your question. I'd love to hear it.
Hey, what's up, Coach DeBoer? How you doing? Super Joe, how you doing? And Chris Stewart said, yeah, I know that guy right there. So that I guess that kind of upped it a little bit. But I could say, and then when I said about the South Florida, he elaborated about the offensive stuff and talk about the tough game that they gave us last year when they was under Coach Saban. And he talked very mild and very and very very straightforward and everything. And I enjoyed myself having a little meal and stuff and being able to get to Coach DeBoer. But Coach DeBoer, I noticed a little bit. He's easier to approach than Coach Saban, in my opinion.
It's not even close, Super Joe.
Yeah, you're right. It ain't even close.
It's
not close.
I love Coach Saban. I thank him, but as far as sitting down and having a conversation, but I'll say this: Coach Saban has mellowed out. I mean, he spoke to us the other day in the press box, and he's probably doubled his word count since he got in the media business to me, compared to what he did for 17 years. I was squeezing out of information out of him, squeezing Super Joe, but the other guy helps me out often.
Yeah, well, you got to look at this too. With Coach Saban, he came as a national championship coach, all right, and because he won one at LSU, and then the expectation was on him in Alabama. Now the expectation on Kalen DeBoer as well, but the thing about it is, one was national championship proven, the other was national championship ready. So Kalen DeBoer, is not gonna, his character, his personality. I just know that he's more. He's very mild. He's real down to earth guy. But one thing I have to understand, I want to get on the Alabama fans' case, but we got to let Kalen DeBoer be Kalen DeBoer.
Amen.
So
say it again, Super Joe. Say it again, please.
We got to let Kalen DeBoer be Kalen DeBoer because he is an original. Okay?
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's the original
I got on Alabama fans on Tuesday because I heard a lot of folks out there complaining, well, I don't like to see him in a black shirt. There's a reason why he's wearing that black shirt. He's very involved with the offense. When you look over to the sidelines, if you're wearing crimson, you got to go, where is my coach? Where's my coach? Where's my coach? Where's my coach? This guy's involved with the play calling. He's involved with the – I mean, Nick Sheridan's calling the plays, and they're calling them in. But Kalen DeBoer is helping. He's helping. But, hey, let me just say this. The official proclamation has just been declared by the Board of Trustees. We already knew that. I mean, it's not like they were not going to prove it, but they had a formal meeting today. Obviously, Saban Field is coming to Bryant Eddie Stadium on Saturday afternoon, and the official proclamation has passed.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. You got any free? You know anybody giving me any free tickets for Alabama, South Florida?
I don't know. I might.
Okay, well, that's all good.
I mean, I can ask. We ask around. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, ask around. Yeah, ask around because if you do got a free ticket or so, give them to me.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I'll ask around. I'll see what I can find out.
All right, then, man.
I got you. Super Joe, give me a score, man. What do you think?
Oh, I'm gonna give I'd say about a good another 63-0.
63-0. You want to give me total offensive yards for South Florida against Alabama?
Well, they might have about a good, maybe just 100 total.
Just 100 total. Super Joe, you got high expectations. I like you. You're my type of guy. It's good to hear your voice, man.
It's all good. Hey, when the last time the Poop man called here?
Oh, no. I mean, Auburn's had 3 losing seasons in a row. Would you call Tuscaloosa radio if you were him? No. Super Joe, I got to run, man.
That'd be take care, partner.
Thank you, Super Joe. We'll continue with more of the game, 63-0. He says Alabama's going to beat down the Bulls. Game that we hand off 3 hours prior to the game to CTSN, Roger, and all those guys. Chris Stewart, looking down at all of Tyler Watts. I don't know why. I just had a little brain fart. Had a moment. Anyway, I'll try to rebound a little bit better here in the 5 o'clock hour. But Tyler Watts and who's the new sideline guy? I just literally went blank. Come on, defensive lineman, former national champ winner at the University of Alabama. Anyway, I'll try to do a little better than that. But he's a brand new. I've talked to him in the press box last week. But anyway, maybe Tony can help me out. 18 national titles, 30 SEC titles, 147 first-team All-Americans, 77 postseason appearances, 45 postseason victories, 4 Heisman winners, the NCAA all-time scoring leader, and the greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines. We are talking about Alabama Crimson Tide football, but I got distracted, and I'll tell Tony why I got distracted. Tony, good afternoon. You're in the game. How are you?
Damian Square,
national champ. I think he won 3 national titles for you. I think I know his name.
That's right.
Thank you, thank you, Tony.
There's a whole list of players that have that on their resume from the university.
Yeah, and the Bryant Museum sent me to as well. So Damian Square, yeah. So but Tony,
you were saying
I got distracted a little bit.
Yeah.
You will not believe what Democracy Dan is doing currently.
I don't believe it. Oh, I'm sorry. You said I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, you don't believe it. You don't believe it. But
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's pretty
Tell us more about Democracy Dan.
Democracy Dan lives down on the Gulf Coast. Okay,
he's gone by a different name. We got a lot of name changes going on lately. I've noticed. We got one in Raleigh. He's changing his name. Now we got Democracy Dan. And then who else we got out there? Other name changers out there?
I don't know. You're still Tony, right? You still want to be Tony?
Well, I mean, you can call me that. I've called other things.
Okay. All right. So Democracy Dan, because the snowbirds are now beginning to arrive because you get through with Labor Day. Democracy Dan is full head to toe with Trump apparel out on the drive down to the beach, setting out on the main road, waving an American flag and Trump stuff all over. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
You got a picture of that?
I do. I don't know if he's going to be.
Can you get that to me?
I don't know if he'll allow me to get that. I mean, I assume he's probably put it up. But yeah, he sent it to me, and I'm going, Democracy Dan. I mean, Bama Nick, watch out. Democracy Dan, even though he didn't call often, he may be going to the top. And so then I was like, are you really campaigning? He said, yes, and I'll be Saturday at the game. So he's all in, man. He's all in. And
well, think about it. He's got all the people coming from the swing
That's
states,
what I'm talking about. That's what he's doing. That's smart.
That's right.
That's smart. And now we don't talk
right.
politics on the show. We never are accused of that.
We're not right now. We're not doing that.
I'm stating a fact that Democracy Dan is out here campaigning. To be what you. Oh, okay. What is that? Unburden. Yeah.
But go ahead. We're not talking about any of that.
No. It's football season. It's football season.
All right. It's football season. Our first game, our first phone call, after that. Things you want to ask me? You want me to ask you stuff? What do you want to do? Lead this thing. Let's get this going. We got people waiting.
63-0. What'd you think?
What's the most points Alabama's ever scored in a football game?
I think it was 66 against Virginia Tech in 1970-71.
Holy smoke. I think we might have done something on Vandy one time, too.
59-0 a couple of weeks ago or a couple of years ago.
But just think about that. First game out, almost broke the record.
Oh, it's sweet, is it not? I mean, and really, he could have scored in that final, but he took the gas off. He took the foot off the gas. So,
well, if you heard his interview, he didn't want to score that many points.
My Jackson's across the glass. My producer has been able to discover this.
The most amount of points Alabama has scored in a football game is 89.
No. Yeah, but that was back when
89.
1951.
19 what?
51.
89?
Who were they playing?
Delta State.
Okay. That's a big academic powerhouse over in Mississippi.
Hold on now, that's HBCU now.
I don't think it is.
Easy.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Delta State, but yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jackson. Well, I like it when Jackson. I'm a big Jackson fan.
Oh yeah, Jackson's trying to get the students in the swing states over there. He's working the bars. I mean, that's his nightly call. He's out, campaigning.
I heard he was
the Georgia
working
kids, the Arizona kids.
There you go.
Michigan
that's
kids
right.
Especially.
That's right. Ohio.
Are you having a hard time? I mean, like when you're
Pennsylvania.
Most of the guys are like, oh, you don't even have to tell me to do that. I'm already doing it.
Oh, okay. Well, illegal voting starts in like 10 days. So you're,
I think illegal voting's already started.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So are you saying, so Jackson, are you saying the guys are the Trumpers and the girls are the not?
For the most part, there is a heavy sect of the female population here that are Trumpers.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What percentage would you say of the girls that are under the spell of Starbucks are also Kamalians? 100%?
60%?
90%?
North 60%.
That's a crazy thing. Got to work on the educated women out there. I don't get it because they're the smartest ones out there, but
they're appealed to.
They're emotional.
The emotion.
It is. It's emotional. There you go. Look at Jackson.
Well, how do you know they're females though? I mean, are you judging?
Well, that's true. You can't.
I meant. Hey, can I say something that's going to break the show here?
No, don't. I mean,
it's either hole or pole. That's how you know.
Hey, that's not necessarily how you know anymore.
Help! I'm coming up for air.
I heard that the other day.
That's a good one.
Help! Oh, yes.
Oh, I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Oh, yeah. Sweat's rolling off my face. Yeah, roll tide.
Roll tide.
It's rolling.
Hey, I changed the subject here.
Thank you.
I heard Jackson was working it like a champion at the student section that didn't leave the game.
Yeah.
How incredible was that? And Jackson was out there leading them, making all the girls sweat, I heard. But, I'm sorry, I didn't mean girls. But go ahead.
No, I mean, Jackson would make you proud, man. He works the strip after the game. He was, listen, he said he's going to enjoy his senior season.
Is this 6th football season or?
No, 3.
This is
3.
This is my 4th.
Oh, 4th.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's
So
on
you
track.
got one more coming, Jackson. Come on, man. He can pull one more
I'm
football
staying.
season out
I
there.
want to stay 2 more.
He's studying for the GRE. You got any advice?
Yeah, don't take mine. Don't take my advice.
Tony,
that's my advice. Is don't listen to my advice when it comes to graduate school.
All right, let's
I don't know. I always thought about that, getting a master's in economics or something like that, but that's passed me up now.
You could always go piled higher and deeper.
Well, considering I'm not going to have to pay for it, my student debt, I don't know why I don't.
Maybe that's why the educated women are leaning to that side. Free.
It's hard, and this is the last thing I want us to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I want us to talk about some football and stuff like this. But I do want to say this. The women are the mothers of humanity. And one of the reasons that they want to vote left is for the right to kill their babies.
Oh, Tony.
I mean, I'm just saying that's the reality of it. You must be under a spell to be highly educated mothers that will vote over anything, overlook anything to make sure they have the right to do that. And then you even have churches that are right there with them. But anyway, I don't know anything more. It's just, I'm going to let Democracy Dan fight that fight for us down at the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, he's down on the Gulf Coast. If you see him down, what is that main street that goes right in? Is it 59? Is that 59?
59.
Yeah. He's right there at 59. He's right there at 59.
You ought to be right
give him
Lambert.
give him a honk, if you're driving by. I mean, let him know that, pitch
like
him.
the guy here by Bojangles.
Well,
in Cottonwood.
A little different
you know
message,
what I'm talking about?
But yeah.
Hey, I mean, no. The Republicans are definitely, their message is religion.
No. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk football, please.
Okay, 63-0. Your big takeaway.
I thought, it was amazing, and it was fantastic, the shutout and all that. I don't know how you top that, and we can't, I know how you top it. You beat Georgia. But I thought it was a great start, and the amazing thing is we got stuff to work on. So, I don't know what it is, Ryan. You've been telling us, and you're absolutely right, and I can't figure it out. There's just something different.
There is. It is. There's a buy-in.
Different.
There is just a bond that's happening on that football field. These guys authentically care for one another. The coaches authentically care for them. I mean, it is and he's been able to do it in 240 days. And that culture has changed. And I'm not saying that Nick Saban had a bad culture, but it was a little weird.
It's different. Yeah. There's a different. I'm not saying anything negative about Coach Saban. I'm just saying that there is a different feel. It's just different, and it's not in a bad way. Hey, I love Alabama. I was all 100% for Alabama last year, and Jalen Milroe and everything, 100% on this. It's just amongst the players and the team, it just seems like a different vibe. But anyway, what else you want to talk about football?
Literally, I don't know if we're able to listen, but Danny says that somebody rolled down the window, honked the horn, and said, "I love you." So they're listening. Thanks for whoever that was.
Yeah. The huge reach of the game right there.
I mean, that's huge. That's huge. All right, but it is. I mean, I don't know if it could have got started any better. 63-0 win, a dominant performance. But here's the crazy part: they left money on the table, as Coach Saban used to tell us.
They did. They did. But you know what? You don't want to use it. You don't want perfection in game one. No coach wants perfection in game.
No, there's plenty to coach. Plenty to coach.
Yeah. He's got plenty of stuff to work on. Had a snap go over Milroe's head. We We had,
What did you say? What did you say?
Okay, no comment. No comment. No comment. I'll just say this. I don't say words like that in front of my daughter, and I got a nudge on my leg from my daughter. A little elbow.
Ooh.
It wasn't a bad word. It just starts with an S, I don't ever, but hey, at least it didn't roll back there to him. If it had rolled back there to him, dropped another word, But hey, it's hard. You can't be upset. It was great. Coach DeBoer just looked like, at the end of the game, you could tell, man, he was all in and he was giving it all he had. And then there was at the end of the game, and there's a video, at the end of the game, and they're coming on a thing. And also you could just kind of see, all of a sudden, he took the game blinders off and the crowd and the lights and the players and everything. And this look came on his face. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, yeah.
And that to me was probably the coolest thing. He now knows what it's all about. Now, he's going to really know when he loses 3 years from now, his first game. But,
I looked it up. Delta State is not at HBCU. Somebody just sent me a
They're
message.
not?
No, they're not. This is what it takes to get into Delta State. I'm telling you, it's one of the worst academic schools in the country. I'm telling you, it was not. I didn't think it was. Okay, the ACT. Now check this out. You got to have a 17 to get in on the ACT.
That's bad. 17.
Yeah. Jackson, what'd you make on your ACT to get in Alabama?
27.
Yeah, there you go. That's about the average over here. Yeah.
The average.
One day
when 18 to get into Alabama.
Oh, is it 18?
That's right. It wasn't 18 when I was in school.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, Delta
one
State.
Day,
yeah.
One day I'll tell the story about me and admissions at Alabama when I transferred in.
Acceptance rate at Delta State is 99.5%. Well, I mean, you're the one that brought it up. I
didn't bring up Delta State. I don't know anything about Delta State.
How did we even come to Delta State?
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying.
You said
I didn't say it.
Yeah, we dropped an 89 bomb on them in 51.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, I was trying to figure out. Okay, yeah.
There it is.
99.5%. In other words, if you can fill out the application, you're in.
All right, so let's talk football. I'm tired of this. And you're going to say, real quick. We want to talk football all the time. And Jackson, we need you in here on this. What's your opinion? What are your expectations of South Florida, Ryan, and Jackson on this thing? It looks like this team is pretty split. Looks like they run the ball fairly well. I think Coach DeBoer kind of said he didn't want to score as many points as he did. He thought we would grind it out a little bit, but heck, when you touch the ball and you score every time, a little different. What do y'all see happening in this game?
All depends.
On what?
I don't know what they would like to work on. I mean, they need to work on it before they go on the road. Do you crank up that rushing attack? Do you let Milroe be limited? I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't show anything. And if I didn't have to show anything next week against Wisconsin, I wouldn't show anything there. I'd make Georgia sit there and think, because this offense can beat you, as I wrote down after the first scrimmage, a lot of different ways.
You watched Washington tape last year. How crazy is it, the ways they scored?
Well, and think about it. They scored 63 points. They didn't even use a tight end. CJ Dupree caught one pass. I promise you.
Right. That's crazy. I haven't watched the replays. I was there, and I missed a whole lot. I didn't realize we didn't even use a tight end.
Yeah, well, some of that was because they had to use at the tackle position, right, just to make sure. I would expect that would
By the way, Caden Proctor needs to play. Not this week, but I'm just saying he needs the reps. We're all making it out like he's all world. I don't recall that last year. I recall a really big guy that struggled a lot. He hasn't had a spring period of practicing. I understand you play him against Wisconsin. He has a week off. They gave him in Georgia, but he needs some reps, in my opinion. Go ahead. Y'all keep going. Talk about Jackson or whatever.
I got to get to this break. I mean, I'm just I'm up against this clock real quick.
That's cool. Hey,
Jackson just did the old Noah flip off the bird right there, so I got to.
Jackson would never do that. He just was saying you're number one, right?
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't have my glasses on. It looked like the bird.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But hey, I'll call in tomorrow. We can talk a little bit more football. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the pharmacy. Whoa! Gotta get a score. You want to get a score?
Oh yeah, I do want to get a score.
The pharmacy at Midtown. Well, we got to put the pharmacy at Midtown.
Go ahead.
I mean, you don't show up one day a week. I mean, you got to.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. 2 days a week.
The pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas, the Nick Saban of pharmacists. The pharmacy at Midtown. See, I've already done a pharmacy at Midtown. I had to do a makeup for yesterday. But the pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas, the only sterile compounding facility. All the compounding needs, you'll find the pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas. TJ Thomas, we call him the Nick Saban of pharmacists. If your pharmacist doesn't have an Alabama shirt on, you don't want him. Tony, give me a score real quick.
He's the man. I'm going 45-14, 300 yards offense.
JR wants to know why he can't get the time that you get.
Because he's not.
All right, let's continue. We're going to take phone calls. Let's go to Mary here in Tuscaloosa. Mary, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well. All right. Bama Kathy, you are in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey.
Hey, Bama Kathy.
How you doing?
I'm good. I hope you are too.
I'm doing fair.
Good. You got a score for me?
I sure do.
All right, I'm ready.
Alabama 47-16.
Okay. 47-16.
Right. And 224.
224. Roll Tide, Miss Kathy.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. 205-342-9904. Adam, Tuscaloosa. Adam, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan. I've been listening to you for a little while. First-time caller.
Thank you. Roll Tide to you, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide also. I just want to say I work with them lovely guys at Tide EMS. We love what we do.
Thank you. Yeah, they do an amazing job, man. They do an amazing job, and I appreciate that guy for saying that. Ram and McCullough talked about Tide EMS. They do an amazing job, man. That's a big service.
Yes, sir. And give a shout out to my buddy Dale I work with too. But I got a score for you.
All right, talk to me.
I got 57-6 Alabama.
Okay.
153 yards for South Florida.
100 and what now? 53?
153, yeah.
All right, Adam. We'll be announcing our winner next week. Hopefully you'll continue to be a part of our show. Thank you, Adam.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right back to you. Thank you. Let's try Mary again. Mary, let's try it again. Good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan. Sorry about that.
You're fine. Mary, what's the score?
I'm going to do 38-7. Well, of course, Alabama. And then 237 on the yard.
All right. 237. 38-7, 237. Mary, I got it.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thank you. We'll get to Jared in Dallas, Texas coming up in just a couple of minutes right here on the game.
To let this moment pass us by.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to edge to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You could also go to their Facebook account. Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331.
And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Where the season never ends. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
To feel down, I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man.
what you guys are doing. I know what you're doing. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't take your hands off the steering wheel. YMCA. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Roll Tide Raleigh. Roll Tide Raleigh, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well. Hey, Roll Tide Raleigh. Roll Tide Raleigh. Going once, going twice. I can hear him. I'm going to put him back on hold. I'll put him back on hold. Let's go to Biscuit Bruce. Biscuit Bruce, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well. How are you, Biscuit?
Alabama 48.
Okay.
South Alabama 10.
South Florida.
South Florida 245 yards.
200.
I want to make a small suggestion.
Okay.
So on days that people are trying to get in to give scores, maybe you ought to consider not giving some of your callers 27 minutes to talk about polls, hoes, politics, and anything but damn football. Roll Tide.
Let's get Bruce a little bit upset. What was it? Polls, hoes.
Polls, holes, politics, anything but football.
I mean, we just tried to compliment Democracy Dan. I mean, it sounds like Democracy Dan's headed to the Alabama game, too. Gavin, Dauphin Island. Gavin, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Roll Tide, Ron Fowler.
Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Hope all is well. I had a little surgery this morning, meniscus tear.
Uh-oh.
Off one of my tractors, and anyway, not much to it. In and out, outpatient, on the way back to the house on Dauphin Island now. But Alabama looked good last week.
They did.
Sure did.
They did. We got a lot of static, Gavin. I can't hear
okay.
a lot.
Well, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, enough to give a score. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do Alabama 52-6.
52-6. We're going tiebreakers, South Florida offensive yards against your Alabama Crimson Tide defense.
220 yards.
220. I got it, man. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Gavin, I hope all goes well with the knee, man. If you meniscus, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin, Dauphin Island. Let's go to David. David, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
I'm doing great. I'm going to do Alabama 49-3, and the yards about 278.
49-3, 278. Is this David in Romulus?
Well, actually, Ralph. Tommy said I can't use Romulus anymore. So.
Oh, does he have it copyrighted or something?
Yeah, he come down and served me papers the other night, so I told him no more internet either. So.
Well, yeah, and you were the guy that were going to teach him how to use the phone, right? The cell phone. Is that was you?
Well, I was going to get him back on Facebook too for 20 years ago.
He did sign up for MySpace the other day, is what I was told. Yeah, that's what I was told. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's a rumor. I mean, you know how those rumors start over close to Sipsey Valley, but he's working on it. He's working on it. Bless his heart. I could not imagine him. This is not me picking up on Tommy. I couldn't imagine living without an email or like a telephone, cell phone. I mean, I guess if you're not I guess you don't know what you're missing if you never had one.
Actually, where they're at, you can't pick it up. I mean, it's true.
Well, the western side of the county, I wish that some of our county commissioners, and I know they do a great job, and I appreciate them. The western side of the county is literally forgot about when a cell phone. It really is. I mean, I know I'm picking on.
I know the school at Sipsey. I think they're fixing to get a tower or a booster or something.
Well, they're going to have to. I mean, it's too dangerous in this current time that we live in. You need cell phone towers. You need a way of communication. There's nothing. Absolutely. I mean, you might get a bar and you may not. That whole entire county. But I mean, there's so many that county over there that needs some attention. As far as cell phone signal, I mean, I live a half a mile off 82. I live very close to Lake Lurleen. The water that comes out of the back of the dam literally flows through my property.
Yeah.
And I'm out in the sticks. Half mile off 82, major U.S. highway, have not one bar. Yeah,
it's kind of scary for have you ever had a problem at school or anything?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever got in a situation like that, so hopefully, somebody can address that. It's a needed area, but we'll see. Maybe.
But I'll be David from Ralph. I guess I'll be David from Ralph now.
David from Ralph. Hey, thank you,
Have
man.
a good one, man. I'll let some other people get in.
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you. Let's go 205-342-9904. Let's go to Bama Jam. Bama Jam, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, Ryan, how are you this week?
I'm good.
Sounds good, man.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I was doing good on that pick until I picked stinking Texas A&M, man. I'm just going to quit picking those guys. They suck.
So now, for those who don't know, Bama Jam's wife is a Texas A&M alum.
That's the only reason I pick them.
Was she upset?
Keeps my wife happy. Keeps me off the couch, man. But I keep missing these things because I picked them and they never do come through. So anyway,
yeah. Well, I mean, Texas A&M. I think it was Joel Klatt that said it a couple of days ago. He said, Texas A&M is the same team that we've had forever.
Yeah. Well, what the Aggies always tell me is they say, well, if you don't get your hopes up, then if they win, you're excited. But if they don't, you're like, oh, well, we were expecting it anyway. And that's their attitude. And it probably transforms.
We're fixing it. We're fixing it. We're bringing in a new coach. Right back to 8-5.
I don't know. I thought they were going to. I really did think, thought they were going to get the upset, but their offense just couldn't do it. Their defense played pretty good up until the fourth quarter, but they just couldn't hang. They couldn't put the points on the board. So.
Yeah, very rarely do they ever hang. I mean, they're Texas A&M.
Yeah, you're right. And, they're the stepchild, just like Auburn's the stepchild of Alabama. A&M's the stepchild of Texas. So there you go.
Roll Tide. Bama Jam, give me a score. What do you think?
I'm going to go 45-10.
45-10, and then yardage for South Florida. 45-10, Alabama. Yardage for South Florida against your Alabama Crimson Tide defense.
We'll go 323.
323. 45-10, 323. Bama Jam, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, buddy. Goodbye.
Right back to you. We'll come back. We'll try Roll Tide. Welcome you right back into the game. We're going to continue taking phone calls. Roll Tide, Raleigh, Ellis, and Manchester, Tennessee. And we have a lot of people that listen to our show from outside of the great state of Alabama. You could certainly apply to this as well. It's the greatest time of the year. Kickoff is here. Football is finally back. We've got NFL tonight. Hey, how about that? Over 1 million fans across 33 different states got in the game last year by competing on Underdog. Win up to 1,000 times your money by choosing higher or lower on your favorite players. Touchdowns, passing yards, rushing yards, college football, NFL football. Easy to download, simple, right? Easy to download. Underdog Fantasy, making your picks on Underdog is straightforward. Signing up is easier. Simple. Just head over to Underdog. Simple to use mobile app, underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with a code. It's very simple. Fowler, Fowler, Fowler. Underdog, give your free pick on your first cash pick'em entry plus $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That is Underdog Fantasy promo code Fowler, Fowler, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 19 in the great state of Alabama and present in where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, ncpgambling.org, underdogfantasy.com, underdogfantasy.com. Let's go to Roll Tide Raleigh. Roll Tide Raleigh, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Roll Tide, Ryan. Did you try to come to me a little while ago?
I did. You sound like you were talking to Nick Saban or something. I don't know. You were getting the scoop.
I'm running in and out of the grocery store, in and out of the store. I'm leaving in a couple hours to come to Tuscaloosa, and I'm running errands before I leave. So
there you go.
There's that.
You headed to T-Town?
First time since I was trying to go through my head the other day, and last time I was here was in Tuscaloosa was Texas A&M 2020.
So you're already here?
No. I'll be there in the morning.
Okay.
I'm leaving in a few hours.
How far?
My nephew there goes to school. It's 9 hours. 9 hours.
Hold on. You going to drive all night?
I am. Take me a little nap in the morning, I'll be good to go.
Man,
so
that's tough.
I prefer to go through Atlanta at night.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I can see that. So
So my sister's already there. I got a place to go crash at as soon as I get there.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I did my score prediction yesterday. I don't want to keep it too long because I know people want to. Well, I think Ellis is your last caller.
He is, but I only got like 2 minutes. So,
I get tired of these people getting credit. I'm not an SEC homer by any means because everybody hates Alabama and SEC, so I don't cheer for any of them. But when the Florida, like Miami, gets credit for beating the 14th best team in the league.
You're right. You're right.
Maybe 12th, bottom 6 in the league, and they're talking about Miami like they beat somebody.
That's all right.
Or USC.
It goes to your head. It goes to your head.
Yeah, I guess
it does.
so.
I mean, it does. I mean, it's kind of like. But I also used that method against Florida State. I thought they'd have a bounce back, and they have not bounced back. So a little bit of a problem
they look
here.
terrible.
So.
They look terrible, Brian. They look terrible.
Yes, they do, man. They look awful.
So,
I mean, awful.
So yeah, I'm coming for my first game since the 2020 COVID year. There was only like 30,000 people in the stands when I came. That was the year you had to stick 6 foot. That was the year you had to stick 6 foot apart or something like that. Do you remember that?
I do.
When it was only putting 40,000.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. You see pictures of the stadium with games with players out on the field, and it's just weird. Hey, Roll Tide, Raleigh, let me squeeze in Ellis right here, man. I'm
hey, Roll Tide, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Safe trip. Roll Tide, Raleigh, headed over to Tuscaloosa. Let's go to Ellis, Manchester, Tennessee. He will be the final score prediction day. Ellis, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game.
Roll Tide, Ryan, fella.
Roll Tide. How does it feel to be the last guy? I mean, everybody wants to be first. Ellis says, I want to be last.
I want to be the last.
You want to be the last duck through the hole. That's what we call it. We've called it that way for 10 years.
Yep. Been a long time.
It has been. I mean, somebody's got to wear that honor. You're the guy that's embraced it and you love it. I got 1 minute, Ellis. You better give me a score because Jackson's been giving me I don't know what he's doing over there, but
52 to 14.
52 to 14. He shot me a bird 3 times today because I missed a break. I don't know what it is. What is it, Jackson? I mean,
it's all fun and games.
Time's been up.
Yeah, I know what Noah used to it too. Now Jackson's giving me the bird. Another one. Oh, that was Wyatt. I'm sorry. I need to wear my glasses during the show. 52-14 yardage for South Florida.
245.
245. I got it, Ellis. I got 20 seconds. Got to get Jesus his plug, man.
Roll Tide and I believe, brother.
I'm glad you believe. Roll Tide. We all believe. Simon, thank you so much. Jackson, we thank you. We want to thank our law enforcement officers, EMTs, firefighters, first responders, highway patrol. We remind you that we call this program The Game, and the only way that you win the big game, the game of life, is to walk daily with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Martin Houston's next with more high school football right here on Tide 100.9. All right.
Thank you for listening to The Game.